likes lumberjanes and Steven just likes some bro Jimmy Olsen. And you're in luck, cause they're ahead.
Heyo, welcome. Oh, Tank Top Saturday. Welcome to the OmniDog OmniCat show with special guest BunkMasta B sitting in.
What?
There he
Well,
is.
that's me.
Right
That's me.
there. That's the bunk, and we're having Crime Corner plus more comic talks. Not just crime, but we got 3 books that we want to talk about, and you are all invited to. Okay, wait. Already somebody's trying to mooch off us. Hey, you two, just wondering if there's a vacancy for another panelist for Crime Corner next month. A slightly smaller lobster.
Well, I am the biggest lobster, so that would mean that any lobster would be a smaller lobster. Slightly, I can't be the one to judge that, but all lobsters are smaller lobsters.
Here's Bar. Welcome, beautiful.
Bar?
Oh, how are you, beautiful people? Beautiful Bar. Beautiful Bar. Rafa's here. Welcome, Rafa. Omnibo from Down Under. What is it, like Monday at 4 a.m. there? Where are you? What's happening?
Omnibo is already on Labor Day, which is probably not a celebrated holiday in Australia, since I assume the labor movement kind of happened a little differently in Australia. My daughter actually asked me about that, and I was like, oh, we get to talk about the history of Labor Day and organized labor and kind of what they got in the 40-hour work week. And I was like, this is cool. I haven't really thought about this for a while.
We're going to get to talk about it on this show, or you and your daughter?
No, my daughter this morning. I was waking my daughter, who you've met now.
Yes.
She is very sort of like schedule driven. She always wants to know the plan. And so, a lot of times we'll, on non-school days, we'll like talk it through with her and we'll say, okay, here's the plan for the day. Here are the things we have scheduled. And she go, okay. She just likes to know about that. And so we were talking about it not being school. And I said, it's not going to be school on Monday. She's like, well, why not? And I said, well, it's going to be Labor Day. She's like, well, what's Labor Day? And I was like, oh, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that outside of just it's a day off for a while. It's like, well,
yeah.
Here's the history of it.
And what did she think of it?
She the way I kind of explained it is that people should shouldn't be forced to work in whatever conditions other people choose for them. They should get to have a say in how they work and how they make their money to support their family. And she was like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Wow, what a good dad you are. You explain things really well.
We're very pro-union in this household, I guess.
Well, I'm not anti-union, so I'm fine with it too.
Tell me you're not scabbing over there?
What's the scab? No scabbing, dog. Kane's here. Welcome. Oh, here comes some keep this wrestling talk brief. Sasmurf, how dare you bring this into the chat?
I mean, I wasn't the one who started wrestling talk. And besides, you don't even know that that's wrestling. Bash in Berlin could be anything. Maybe, maybe.
I have a very educated guess based on my co-host here.
What? It could be anything.
It's not like the Sex Pistols in Berlin or some kind of Lollapalooza thing. Bash in Berlin definitely sounds like some form of wrestling to me.
Maybe it's the Ramones AI album that's a follow-up to Rocket to Russia. Maybe now it's Bash in Berlin.
3 a.m. Sunday morning. Holy smoke.
Dang.
You're
Omnibo
a madman. He does have a lot of energy. He does have a lot of energy. I shouldn't show this, but I'm going to because it's reasonably funny. And then I just won't comment on it. Okay, Arya, glad you're here. Captain's here. Welcome to see you.
Hellboy Universe is great.
It is. Elan, I think it's fine if you could even choose the crime books. I don't think we've talked about it yet. You're definitely responsible for our talking about black water lilies today. I feel like this is for some reason, I thought I kickstarted this, but there's nothing to indicate Kickstarter on it. So I may have just bought it, but it's been in my library for a very long time. More and I kickstarted it. But
we had talked about possibly doing the Killer because we were going to do Killer this month, and then we were talking about pushing it to next month.
yeah,
They penciled in and like can be erased.
okay, this is August. Okay, so I was thinking of yeah, The Killer's fine. I was thinking if for October's Crime Corner, we should try and figure out if there's a spooky the Halloween thing. Is there like a spooky book we could talk about? Something.
I mean, there's a whole lot of crimes, and did you hear what Ed Gein done?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that again. Having the interview with Eric Powell is enough. Yeah, where is Hayden?
I feel like we haven't seen Hayden for a few shows now.
Yeah, I feel like that too. And I haven't seen Kenny either, so I hope they're both okay. Oh, it was a compliment. Okay, well, thank you for that compliment.
He's saying I'm prioritizing this over the big music festival Bash in Berlin that's happening. That
Which is totally a lie.
I would normally be streaming right now.
That is a lie. Let's see. Wait. Oh, yeah. Freddie's in a union. Punk keeps getting hunkier. Yeah.
Listen, my daddy was a miner, and I'm a miner's son, and I'll keep fighting for the union till every battle's won.
Right on, man. Now, I am willing to talk about Kaiju Big Battel.
So James sent me the clip of that from Omni Bros when you showed that. I've never seen that, but that looks awesome. We have
super fun.
I feel like I saw that there was like, because I looked it up to say like I would totally go see a show of that. Most of them are in New York. Was there one in Virginia? Did I see that there was one in Virginia coming up?
There might be, but I don't know that it's close to me. I think maybe James may have told me that, but I think it may be like 3 hours away. But for those of you, James will put it a link to Kaiju Big Battel. It looks outrageously fun. Actually, James, could you send me the link in Discord, and I can play it without the sound on, and I don't think we'll get demonetized for just showing that. How would they even?
Well, I don't know. It's not a copyrighted thing. I don't because you played the sound on. I feel like on Omni Bros. Like I don't think
Omni Bros doesn't care if they get demonetized. They like to get demonetized.
So that looks rad, but and I've never seen that. But one of actually like my first real like big pushes into wrestling was we have there's a wrestling group that comes to a convention that comes out here called Fantasy Cosplay Super Wrestling, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a whole bunch of different wrestlers who come in cosplaying as different characters, and so they set it up as like the Trunchbull from Matilda is going against like Psylocke from X-Men, and they're like totally in character, and they have like the whole intros where they're coming in it, and it is such a trip, and it's so fun. And
now, I'd go see that. That sounds fun.
And even if you were not a super wrestling person, like when they hit they kind of like hint as like who's coming on, and then you hear like the intro music going, and they do like custom animation packages, and you see like the name first, and you're like, what? Ghost Spider's gonna come and wrestle, and then you see the character come out, and she's whipping, and you're just like, I don't even care about wrestling, but I love this. It's great. And I imagine that's what like Kaiju Big Battel is like.
Let's see. First, thank you, James, for sending me the link to their main page. Let's see, home videos. Okay, I just need to share this. I'll turn the sound off. I don't. Halloween big. Okay. 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 Yeah, I can show this. I can. There's no way to describe what this is unless I share it. It just looks really funny to me. So let's see. I'm going to share it, and this is. Can you see that?
Yep.
This is Kaiju Big Battel Halloween Beach Party Monster Tag Team Fido Sea World Order versus Dirty Birds. I have no idea what any of that means, but as you can see, it's a small audience. So let me scroll forward. These are the creatures. They're kaiju. Oh, they're bringing their own chairs. And let's see, who's the... There's the other kaiju that's coming in.
So we got a big crab dude with an axe versus a sort of seaweed monster. I assume that that's going to be one tag team. I imagine that those together make SeaWorld Order.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So they're being introduced here. Yeah.
Oh, we got the ref, getting some flapping in. Yep, Dirty Birds coming in. So that's going to be the other. So a tag team is typically going to be two people together.
Got it. Okay, so here's the other member of the. This is Tutor. Okay, he's one of the Dirty Birds. Looks like he's got a box of cereal.
I feel like that cereal probably will not stay in that box throughout the entire match.
Let's see who the other.
Oh, we got an Ultra Chicken right here with a boogie board.
See, now this already cracks me up. Even just their entering the ring cracks me up. So let's see what action looks like.
Well, and I'm pretty sure when I was reading the bio, this was all started by art students at NYU, who basically did this as a big art project. And they're like, yeah, and then also, what if we wrestled as part of it? This was not wrestlers that were out doing that. This is
right,
coming at it from the art angle.
These are doughy art students just getting into crazy costumes.
And of course, we've got the models of towns that are being stomped after. All you need is a little bit of forced perspective shot, and basically you're shooting a kaiju movie right here. Oh, we got a drop kick going right through there.
Uh-oh. Oh. Yeah, that's right. They stomp on the towns underneath them.
Yeah, okay. Like any good kaiju does. Do you know a kaiju that doesn't stomp all over a town? If so,
no, that's a good point. Oh, they're wrestling over a building.
Just smashing a building over his head.
Okay, this is my kind of wrestling. All we need is a whipped cream pie fight, and then this would be perfect.
I mean, are we talking one where someone's throwing a whipped cream pie in their mouth, or are we talking something a little bit more on the after dark?
No, just plain old
okay
pie,
right,
Three Stooges custard pie. The guy with the building on his head. Okay. So now you get it.
I guess that cereal was not going to stay in that box.
You're right. He's been beaten with it. Okay, there we go. I didn't want to subject the audience to too much more of that, but that is hilarious, I think. And it helps me get behind. Helps me get behind in the chat by half an hour too, which everybody.
That's what people are here for. I mean, as you have said many, many times, by the time we catch up and we actually handle the topic, everybody just checks out.
Yeah.
They're here for technical difficulties. They're here for being behind in the chat. Us responding to things that happened 30 minutes ago. Those are the hallmarks of a great OmniDog stream. By the time the topic is discussed, everyone's like, I got things I got to do. I got the Labor Day plans to get ahead. Yeah.
I got a life here. Come on, you guys. Speaking of the Sex Pistols, what are your thoughts on the Oasis reunion?
I was reading about the tickets.
Are they crazy expensive?
No, the tickets are I mean, for what it is, it's pretty reasonably priced. Like the most expensive face value, I want to say was like £560. Um, cheapest were like 73. I think it was like 85 for standing room. But there were so many people trying to get it, and they like these websites were so not equipped for it. Like people were like they were being put in queue to get into the regular waiting queue. People were talking about how they had been waiting for 2 hours for tickets when they were booted out for being told that they were a bot, even though they were like they had been waiting for 2 hours at this point, and just it's been a complete mess.
I know this is a first world problem, but this is probably one of the most frustrating first world problems you can have when something's out of your hands. Like, sorry to say, back in the old days when you would have to queue up for a Bruce Springsteen ticket back in like 84. Sorry, I know. You physically went to the place, and because I was a ticket seller for Bass which was the Bay Area ticket seller. They were before things had become monopolized, and people would wait in line and they'd get the tickets we gave them. And now you're sitting for 2 hours frustrated, and they accuse you of being a bot, and you're booted out. So you don't get tickets. You don't get that time back. Is it only, are they only playing in a select few areas? Is it just UK, or are they Europe too?
So what they've announced so far, although it's assumed that the way that they've said it, they think there's going to be more things coming, is they've only announced UK and Ireland so far.
Okay.
I want to say that they've said there are going to be 17 locations that they're doing between those two. I could be wrong about that part, but those have all gone. And they've also said like they're taking a hard line to try and cut down on scalpers. And so they have basically said, like, if we find that our tickets are being resold on, like, there's 3 sites that they allowed for this, and unfortunately Ticketmaster was one of them. And they say, like, we will cancel any tickets that we see being resold at higher than face value at any of these other places.
Wow.
So
good for them.
Yeah, and then also, like, in the ticket world, you're a Massive Attack fan, right? I remember you talking about Trip Hop with Jake.
I like Massive Attack. Is Portishead also trip hop?
Portishead is Portishead. I guess kind of. I guess it. I don't know that Portishead has a genre. It's like Portishead is Portishead, and if you know Portishead, you know what that sounds like.
Yeah, I feel when I was talking to Jake, I feel like was that when I said apparently I'm into trip hop and acid house and deep house and acid jazz and all these genres. I'm like, it all sounds the same to me. It's really cool music, but how is trip hop different from acid house? I don't know. So yeah, I do like Massive Attack.
So the reason I ask is they actually did a really cool thing where they are trying because they're touring or performing rather for like the first time in I don't know how long, and they are like very, very environmentally conscious, and so as they don't want people to try and like have big carbon emissions trying to fly from across the world to get to them, and so like when you're queuing up to buy a ticket, I don't know how they're enforcing it, but it's like they're only allowing for zip codes within a certain radius of them to get to where it's like basically where you could still take a train to get to this concert to be allowed to buy. And I think they've said that they're going to try and do other locations too. But they're like, listen, if you don't have a way to prove that like you aren't local and you're going to be like getting here via mass transit, you don't get to see us, which is unfortunate. But I also like, I think that's cool that like they're coming out with that stand and a not Morrissey kind of way where, Morrissey just like telling half his audience to go F off.
Yeah, he definitely does. He did that with the Smiths. Now, are they also keeping it to places with good mass transit like Europe and the UK and not the United States? Where
they're a UK band. I don't think they're doing anything in the United States because I think they're trying to also do only places that they can get to within like short distances.
Oh,
to
so they don't contribute to the carbon footprint.
Exactly. Yeah. It would be kind of at least a little bit hypocritical to be like, hey, you guys can't fly to us, but we can fly to you. I mean, granted, it's like, the call it 50 people that are working on that versus like all the people that are coming. So it's slightly different, but I do believe that is the intention there.
Okay. Well, I can get behind that. I'm definitely not a concert goer anymore. As has been established because reasons. So, but Pity Ma's here. Hi to Pity Ma. You've read The Killer. Have you read all of The Killer? And does that mean you want to reread it? I don't care. Just hit me up in Discord, and yeah, you can be on. Of course. You're Elon. You're like a lobster, so you count.
I mean, Elon is the original lobster. I am very much a lobster usurper.
You usurped, yeah. You definitely usurped his throne. This would not be unprecedented for OmniDog because I only have one copy of this, so I do feel like. For some reason, it's a magnetic press book, and magnetic press, they're certainly capable of not doing like Boom and Dark Horse or whatever. I don't know why they would a Kickstarter book. That always sort of gripes my cookies, but for some reason, and I don't know. I'd have to go back in my Kickstarter history. And the only thing that makes me laugh about what Freddie said is that I'm going to, as I did for Josh Greathouse with Bang, I'm going to do a review of all of Reed's books from Kristen and Reed, Chancellor. And I was like, I don't think I have hardcore. Wait, no, I have Hardcore Anxiety. I can't remember the book. This is how bad I am. Wait, it was. I don't think I have this other book, and because I can't find it, and I have a Reed section, and Kristen writes back in about 10 minutes and says, "Reed says you kickstarted it," and I said, "I don't think I did." She
shows
me
the summer vacation one.
Sorry,
was that the summer vacation one?
No, I definitely backed that. I got the little, I got the 45 for that. That. They sent a very funny plea to upper management to let me buy the vinyl because I was on a vinyl ban at that time. And so Patty let me get the vinyl of Reed's music. This was, and it wasn't Rock and Roll Terrorist. It was, I mean, Sad Religion. It was Sad Religion. And I said, I don't remember doing that. And she sent me the screenshot where it says, Jess Bragg kickstarted this. I'm like, oh God, but I did find it. So now I have a complete Reed. So Freddie, yeah, it is possible that happened because I am very crazy. I'm going to need a nice person to write down the names of the books in the thumbnail because, I can't read cursive. Okay.
We'll drop it in Discord so that way you can have a register of it. But James, hit us with that typing so that way she can see it written down and we can tell her.
The Grande Odalisque, Grande Odalisque.
It's a famous painting in the Louvre. If you start typing it into Google, it'll autocorrect to you.
Yeah, and these are all French books. We're going Euro crazy today. So my friend Tony from Sweden can take a breath and stop lecturing me on the better format and the better books. The next one is Olympia, Olympia. And if we actually get to a point where we discuss these books, instead of talking about Kaiju Oasis reunions, I will try to pinpoint where it is in the discussion, and afterwards I will highlight and put where it appears on the video.
I would legit absolutely watch a Kaiju's cover of Don't Look Back in Anger. That'd be amazing.
Right. Did that help you, Bar? I hope so.
I mean, she got somebody's help.
Okay, good. Well, you mean mine?
Well, I mean, yeah, we helped her.
Or are you looking ahead? Oh, okay.
No. I'm not sure what else happened in the chat. I mean, presumably James already, answered like 5 times, and we're
and
and she's
Bar's
gonna say,
already
"Thank
gone
you,
back,
James." Yeah,
back to bed or whatever.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
already bounced out. There is a surprising amount of giant wrestling in Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. That book was fun. If you want to know about it, James is busy linking my review of it, which I did a couple weeks ago. That book is a lot of fun. I was surprised at how fun that was.
The thing that really struck me when I was reading that book is like, this book is great, but man, that lettering is next level. Whoever was on the lettering on that just absolutely knew what they were doing.
I didn't bring that one up. Is that Comic Craft by Tyler Smith?
Yeah. Tyler was the one, not just Comic Craft, but Tyler was the one who did that.
Did I not bring that up?
I think you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
Okay.
But you didn't bring it up right now. If people go back and watch that video, they'll hear about that. But I'm saying right now.
That's right. No, I didn't mean that I bring up the topic right now. Yeah, I thought, because I've been paying, I don't know if it's a coincidence that Tyler is in the community, or that or maybe Peter M's been an influence on me, maybe Omar, somebody, but this past year, I've really been zeroing in on lettering and how important it is. And I will say peace and love, but that is probably one of my only light critiques about European books, is that sometimes I don't feel lettering is either it doesn't look as good as I think it could. And I feel now that's not the case in.
Does that include Grande Odalisque? Because I really liked the lettering layout and kind of everything with that, and also in the Killer, the artist lettered his own work, and so that way got to lay it out.
Yeah, I'm actually not talking about these books.
Okay, I was gonna say I appreciate it. Like, that was one of the things I thought, both the font choice and just like everything.
The lettering in this is really good. And for all of them, it's very legible, very plain, very stylized, very nice. But I feel like some of the I'll have to go into my vast European collection of comics and pull out what I think is hard to read stuff. And I get that they're translating stuff, so it might not be the easiest thing to write, but sometimes I feel like it's a little scritchy scratchy compared to Tyler Smith's work with Comic Craft, of course.
I know manga is a tough one, because oftentimes, of course, manga is written, is printed originally in mangoes. Mangoes. Done in Japanese, and the word bubbles are fit to the original kanji that are written there. And I don't know if this is the case so much anymore, but when I was reading a lot of it back in high school, you would see these pages where they would keep, like, the only thing that changed was the actual words that were in there. The bubbles were part of the actual art. And so you'd see, something where, like, let's say in Japanese, it's a cognate, and it's a colloquialism that, like, can be expressed in just a few kanji. Whereas, like, in English, it needs like this whole thing, and you have to like scrunch it way down to try and get a whole bunch of words, or vice versa, where it's like in English you can say it in just a few words, and then the kanji takes a whole lot more. So you have like this long bubble like this, that it's like 2 words in the middle, and then it's just like all this extra space that's there, and you're like, yeah, that wasn't like that originally.
Excuse me. Okay, Jaggernaut, welcome. I just finally finished the little bird hardcover and thought it was great. Can't wait for the story to continue. Okay, that is a reading goal.
It's doing right now. Precious Metals, the follow-up, is coming out in singles right now after like 3 years away. Reading it now, really excited.
This is a book I struggled with, but kept. I
Mhm.
will attempt it. I'll make it a 2025. Jiminy crickets, 2025 goal. I'm not kidding. In high school, we did not think there would be a year 2025. We thought the
Yep.
world would have blown itself up by now.
Yep.
Not saying it won't. I'm just saying we didn't think that there'd be a 2025.
I
So
mean,
anyway, sorry for that dark reminiscence. Little Bird went over my head, but lots and lots of people like it. So I'm going to give it another try. I know right where it is. It's double stacked behind other books in the KLAX. And I took pictures of those things, so I know where everything is. So I don't have to have some kind of spreadsheet. Okay, sorry. So I will read it again and give it another shot. If I can't understand it after 2 times, then it just may not be for me. I'm glad it's for everybody else, but so many people liked it. I felt like I was missing out.
well, I remember I talked to you about this a while back, and there was like Little Bird is dense, and there's a lot going on with it. No doubt about that. But even just sort of like the major plot arc, we were talking about just like, what's the elevator pitch for this book? You were like, oh, I don't remember that at all. So, I feel like I feel like this is a book, like it may not be for you, but I feel like this is one that like a reread would benefit you for, because it was like even the most basic part, like you hadn't remembered or connected with. You're like, I don't know if I realized that was happening, and it's like that's what the book is about. So
Okay.
I think that would one, and it may not end up being for you, but if nothing else, that Ian Bertram art is so good and so evocative and so creepy.
Okay. Good. CNSSSS is here. Welcome. Hey, Max. Welcome.
What up, Max?
Oh, well. Oh no. I thought he was going to ask Ben Templesmith, but you might be a good person to ask about Steve Niles. Are you a Steve Niles fan?
I'm not the biggest Steve Niles fan.
I kind of am not either.
Ben Templesmith, I asked him about it. He said, yeah, Steve was really good to work with. Haven't talked to him in a while. I'm not the biggest 30 Days of Night fan. I think Ben's art came a long way from there, and especially in the early volumes, the digital noses kind of throw me a little bit. I think it's a neat idea, but the execution of it wasn't my favorite. What's the TKO book that he did? The werewolf one. Redlands?
Yeah. Actually, I think I might have liked that. That was a while ago that the minister and I reviewed that, I think.
No, that was Alex Packnadell. He did he did a TKO book about werewolves that was pretty fun, but this may not be true or not, but I remember years ago when I was posting on the GameFAQs comics and graphic novels board, I remember there was some allegations that were made, nothing criminal or anything, but just kind of like jerky stuff about him that was, obviously early days of the internet, was never substantiated, but it was enough that it was kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is real, but it kind of makes me feel not great about it. I already don't really like the guy, so it was kind of like, I'm not the biggest fan there.
I feel like I just ran across a Steve Niles book that I read and enjoyed. I'm trying to think what it was. It's in a stack of books that I have to decide on what I'm doing with them. So I'm sorry, Rafa. I don't think we gave you a very good answer there.
Yeah, sounds like this is the wrong live show for you for Steve Niles' recommendation.
Hello, Super Laugh Hard. Hello. We're happy. I'm happy with mine. Bunk looks happy with his.
Oh, I was talking about this the other day. I have not shaved completely since 2019, and I surprised my wife. Like, I came out and she was like, "What? I don't." My wife doesn't like it when I shave. I look very, very young and very different when I don't have it. I mean, I've had a beard since I was like 16. So yeah, basically this is the look you get forever from now on out.
Yeah, when I first started growing this, I've always had a mustache, and then I started growing this, and I was in therapy at the time, and my therapist, she said, "I think it ages you." And I'm like, "Who am I trying to look young for?" I've been married 30 years at this point, or 25, whatever it was, and she's like, "Well, I guess that's fair, but just so you know, I think it ages you." I'm like, "Okay,
I
I
don't
get
think
it."
that's the
But I look
advice.
better. I look much better with it than without it. I got, for some reason, well, I feel like the last time I shaved this off was when I appeared as
Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman in the show I did for Omni Bros when we raised money for comic books for kids. Um, but I'm trying to think if I shaved. I know I shaved this off, and junior management came in and said no, and I was like, okay, so I grew it back. So apparently, this is here to stay.
Speaking of Harley Quinn, real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about her.
When I was talking to Johnny Rotten this morning, we were talking about the plan for the day, and I was
That's his daughter's nickname, by the way, for those of you new to the channel. Johnny Rotten and Milo.
Yep. And I was talking about kind of the plan for the day, and I mentioned I was going to come here and I was going to do this with you. The first thing she asked is, "Are you going to have a Harley Quinn background?" And because she is also a big Harley Quinn fan, and I just laughed and I was like, I'll let him know that you said that. And she always gets embarrassed, like, "No, don't tell him I said that." So nobody tell Johnny Rotten I said that. But the first thing I noticed when I came on was the Harley Quinn background. So I was like, oh, I'll let her know that it was that, and that'll make her happy.
That's very sweet. I'm glad I could make her happy. And tell her I appreciate. Did you tell her I appreciate you tell her I appreciate the fan, that she's a fellow Harley Quinn fan.
Oh, I told her that. I was like, listen, he is an even bigger fan of Harley Quinn than you are. And she was, what? He's an even bigger fan than me? And I went, yeah.
He reads even the crappy books that are about Harley Quinn, which Bar won't do, and I don't blame her. I'll buy and read all the books.
Have you read any of the Harley Quinn DC Superhero Girls books? Or did you watch that cartoon at all? The Tara Strong one?
No, I know what you're talking about. I haven't got to that.
It's pretty fun, honestly. And the episodes are only like they're pretty short, and they're like rapid fire. Like they're pretty fun. They're worth watching, and Harley's a lot of fun in that.
So that's on Max, DC Superheroes. DC, what is it?
It used to be on Netflix. I don't know where it is now, because I know there were some other, there was like two DC Superhero Girls. There was the one that was Faust, Tara Faust, the one that did My Little Pony. She did one series there, and then there was one that's like kind of just like regular, and then they did a Lego version. So there's a few DC Superhero Girls ones.
There's a Lego version of Harley and Friends, or whatever it's called,
and those ones are pretty fun. It's
don't the Lego movies.
Don't expect the same level of like budget and like just absolute beauty as like the Lego movie or Lego Batman. Yeah, those are gems. But they're very fun.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, you can clean up my language when I say, yeah, he even reads the crappy books. Just finished Fatale and none of these crime books. What other crime books has the chat read recently? This isn't me hijacking to distract you both at all. You are trying to distract me.
Well, I'm excited to see what the chat's read now.
Yeah. Okay. Elon recommends The Last of the Independents. I have that.
I have not read that one. If we're doing,
I mean, I own it. I haven't read it yet. It's supposed to be very good.
If we're talking like Matt Fraction, books that are super, slept on, Casanova, which is, you can see the orange that's like right there. It's Matt Fraction, Gabriel Ba, and Fabio Moon. Like from a while ago, and it's about this like weird interstellar super spy. It's not really a crime corner book, although crimes are committed like in kind of the spy espionage sense, but like I love that series. That's great.
Yeah, I'm sure we can discuss we can discuss Ed Brubaker. I want to get to Bar. This was this was about
That was the Kaiju Big
Battel.
Battle. Yeah.
I was just showing you something fun, Bar. That's
Here to talk about. You've been here long enough to know we don't talk about the topic. Like, that's not what these are about.
People come for the tangents. They tune out when we talk about the topic. The minister and I figured that long ago. Oh, there. Thank you, Freddie, for helping Bar. I appreciate that. Isn't this the last concert scene in Up in Smoke? That's a deep cut. I want to be Colonel Sanders in that wrestling match. Funny enough, this wrestling isn't scripted. It's all legit.
I don't see any wrestling there when we were watching it. I just see, Kaiju rampaging. Yeah. This just became the time Jess and Bunk became wrestling commentators. I do like watching that stuff. Listen, anytime you want to commentate a match with me, I will hook it up. We will call a match together. It'll be great.
Of Kaiju Big Battel or whatever it is?
Oh, I'm talking like regular wrestling, and just, you go in completely blind, you commentate on the fly. I think that would be a very fun experience.
I'd go, who's this? Why is it happening? Or, oh, she's up there. What happened? Where's this? Oh, a chair got beat on this guy. What?
Hey, this is all content. People would absolutely tune in for that.
Content is king. Yeah, wrestling is different. It is awesome.
James, clip that. Wrestling is awesome. OmniDog 2024.
Rodimus here. Good to see you, Rodimus. I assume you're back out of the hospital and doing well. Please tell me you're doing well. El gran omnipero y el majestuoso tank top master be. Majestuoso. I'm struggling there.
Last I'd heard, Rodimus was back home with his family. I'm really hoping that that's still the case.
I think this got asked before on Omni Bros. And
did you have an answer?
Yeah, I said, who's Joe Hendry?
Say his name and he appears. OmniDog believes in Joe Hendry.
I think that's what Lou started singing. Okay. Oh, maybe. Okay, here's another one of you guys. Oh, my gosh. I'm here just to watch y'all decipher the mystery of what the chatter you guys were talking about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to that comment at 43 minutes, so not too wrong right there.
No, yeah, I'm on track. History does go that far back. He should be shook. Oasis are starting in a 150,000 capacity stadium in Cardiff. Very high likelihood they will break up right after. Yeah, you're probably right.
Not wrong.
Actually, missed waiting in line for tickets. Used to meet a lot of great people that way. That's true. Hey, there's Josh. No, a lot of concerts are too expensive. Yep. Okay, this must have been the acid trip house genre thing. Yeah. Marvel Bab. Here's somebody we haven't seen in a while. Was on the phone for the Oasis tickets, 7 hours and no tickets. But we went to see Akadaka, as they say in Australia, and my ex-partner has emailed the guy who got us Akadaka tickets.
Crossing my fingers for you.
Awesome. Massive Attack had to release an early single with the name just being Massive because the Gulf War was happening at the time. Oh, wow. True story. They couldn't call themselves Mass. Yeah, and I have Mezzanine.
Yeah, Mezzanine's great.
Mar turned down a very lucrative offer to reunite with Morrissey. Yeah, I've been very happy with the live albums that are obvious bootlegs that I bought from this place in London, Juno Records. I also ended up with some really obscure My Bloody Valentine demos that were like, did I get scammed? Is this really My Bloody Valentine? Because the first side does not sound like My Bloody Valentine. They only started morphing into their signature sound by about the last song. And I said, okay, this sounds like My Bloody Valentine. But it could have been just any rock group on this one thing that I have.
Are you saying the first half wasn't fuzzy and was like clear and like, you know, you could hear what they were saying?
Yeah, and it had like a boppy rock sound. It was like do 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 do, and I'm thinking, what? How is this My Bloody Valentine? What are we talking about? But then it morphs into something really cool on the second side. It's okay. You can go into your topic. We were talking right about what we were talking about at the time. Here's Bat Cato.
Hey,
Whose
well,
partner
Bat Cato
has the bossest basement in the world.
Sorry, can we stop real quick and look at Bat Cato's new icon? Where did that come from? That's dope. I like that.
Who is that? I mean, I see that it has it's like a custom Bat Cato Batman costume on that, but
I think
what's happening there, Bat Cato?
I mean, that looks like someone drew Bat Cato, at least as best as I can tell from like the old profile picture of him with his kids.
And Bat Cato, since Bar's in the chat, Bar, are you familiar with Bat Cato? I'll find this out in half an hour. Are you familiar with Bat Cato's partner / wife / girlfriend? I'm not sure what's going on there. Her basement is all bombshells with the comics behind them and various smaller statues and pops, and it's like all over the basement. Now I have all the bombshell comic covers framed, but they're not. That's just art on the wall. And then I have my bombshell statues separately, Harley statues separately, but this thing looks amazing. Maybe you've seen it in Discord, Bar, because that's where I saw it. Hey, YP, welcome.
What's up, YP? I feel like I haven't seen YP in a little while.
Reed Chancellor's Sad Religion. Yes.
We got
the oversized paperback. Yeah. We were born into this mess? Is that a Reed book?
I was going to say, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, I don't think they teach cursive anymore, so I'm not surprised Bar can't read cursive. Although she can write in those really complicated Hebrew letters, I bet.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not too familiar about the curriculum of Israeli schools these days. Not
Is there a way to teach cursive Hebrew? I highly doubt it. Here's Reed Store Envy. And I'll take a short plug here. Don't super chat me any money for Reed and Kristen because YouTube takes 55% of it. And people were so kind to send $100 one time, and she only got $45 out of that. If you are interested in helping them with their baby registry, because that baby's about 3 weeks old, maybe a month old. I think it's a month old because it came like 2 weeks early. They had to induce. I will put their baby registry in the description box below, and there's tons of things that you can get from $5 to $100, just any little thing. They really need diapers. So I'll put that in the chat along with Reed's Store Envy.
Every parent always needs diapers. You never have enough diapers.
Okay, Bar got it settled. Good to see you're still here. And okay, I'm catching up. This wasn't too far. Okay, yeah, it was half an hour ago. Thank you, James, for putting that book up. BunkMasta B, am I right? It's Bunk the Hunk. That's a channel in my Discord, I think. Is it Bunk Thirst Traps?
I think it's OmniDog and Bunk Thirst Trap gifts. I believe
notice
that is
there's
what
none of me in there. It's all you.
Sometimes Geo makes it as a thirst trap.
Oh. It wasn't Omar. I forget what I said.
Lettering. That was on the lettering conversation about, you were talking about people in
okay, I maybe it was Peter then. Because I have noticed lettering a lot more.
That sounds like a Peter thing.
I think Bunk brings up Tyler each time helps with lettering. Is Bunk wearing a V-neck tank top, business casual? Let's see. No, that looks
No. I was just wearing my most Parisian looking tank top I could find. So the vertical stripes bleu et blanc was feeling.
Whoa. Throwing the language at me. Interesting.
Qu'est-ce qu'il fait, les babies de Ben Déjeuner? Je suis BunkMasta B, et aujourd'hui, nous allons parler crime.
Wow, I understood crime.
Yeah, that cognate, that's there. BunkMasta B is also a cognate, so you should have caught that one.
Okay. It's hard when they shrink a European book but not change the lettering. That could be it, because European books, if you think, I don't even know if this is the original size for this. For what Tony says, they're like giant sized books that they get. And so I don't know. This is from Fantagraphics, and I can show some of the lettering. Well, it's not very heavy with lettering. Let me highlight myself just as don't leave the chat. We're not talking about crime books yet. I'm just showing lettering. Don't everybody tune out.
Are they talking about the topic? What's going on here?
We're not talking about the topic. See, it's clean, but it is tiny. The font is clean, but it is kind of tiny. And I'm surreptitiously showing you what the art looks like in this book when we actually do get to the topic. It's not dialogue heavy, this particular book. Yoink. Great example. Oh, this might be what I was thinking of. The Inkle. Awesome story, but that lettering is so small. Thank God for the absolute edition.
You're welcome for that, by the way, Rodimus. You have that because I told everybody, no one else. This is Rodimus's.
Nice. Carl, about to fly, but had to drop by the OmniDoggy Daddy's channel to say hi. OmniDoggy Daddy. That's right. Augie Doggy and Doggy Daddy. That was the cartoon.
Okay.
You might be right. I actually only heard about that Mayan thing from probably like that year. I was unaware that the world was supposed to end. So I just acted normally and hoped I could get into heaven just in case.
Just, if the rapture happens to happen, just like, just go about my day. And if we all get raptured, whatever, I guess we'll just, go along with it.
Oh, if the rapture happens, I'll still be here live on the air. Yeah, I'm not getting raptured at this point. I haven't done enough good to make up for the evil when I was younger. James Abel skipping over in 1999 and Y2K. Probably 2 more apocalypses. Oh, now these would be fun for us to read. I know the minister and I have, we covered a bunch of those during, I think maybe just a regular Batter Days show. I don't know if we saved them just for Crime Corner, but have you read any of the books from Dynamite?
Not the Bond books. I've heard nothing but great things about them. I love Warren Ellis. Totally get those that can't, but Ellis is still one of my favorite writers, especially him doing action stuff. If you want to do a retread, I'm definitely down to read those, since those have been ones. Everyone has those like books that they're great, and you're just like, almost because you know how good they are, you're like, yeah, I'll get around to them eventually. It's like, there's no hurry. I don't need to do that now. And they just kept pushed further and further down your list. That's Bond for me.
One thing we noticed, now I haven't read the most recent 3, but everything else up to there, I mean, they had some really good writers. They had Jeff Parker, Greg Pak, Warren Ellis, as you said. They had a bunch of great writers. Every single one of those Bond books was, as they say, a banger. They were great. All of them. They covered from like his very beginning to the middle, later end of his career, whatever. And they're not connected. They're all individual stories. Those books, I would love to reread those, or just read the most recent 3. They are so good. TKO Werewolf, Lonesome Days, Savage Nights.
There you go.
We need to see more classic Mustache Jess and Collector's Showcase. I have that sitting on my desktop, and I just don't get around to it. I know Freddie and Trigonosis are the ones that really want to see it. I won't promise anything, because whenever I promise anything, I invariably neglect it. So I will try, Freddie, though. I know that those are fun for people to watch.
Now, quick question about Mustache Jess. Did Mustache Jess exist before junior management came about? Because I feel like dads with mustaches are like a classic look, but like before that, like mustaches in like on your 20s, like either you're like going for an ironic mustache or you're Freddie Mercury, in which case like you can pull off anything. And like there's only a few categories of like pre-kids mustache that I think is like socially acceptable.
I will tell you that when Patty met me, I had a mustache.
Okay.
We got married and I had a mustache. For the first 6 years of junior management's life, I had a mustache. And one day I shaved it off just to see what it would look like again. And she came in from school and cried when she saw me. She didn't recognize me. And so I said, okay, I'll grow it back. I think I've just, besides, I think Wonder Woman might be the only other time I've shaved it off. I just like Patty, and everybody thinks that I look better with a mustache, including me. Here is a question for you.
Yeah, that actually is a legit thing. So Johnny Rotten was a joke that came about afterwards. But my daughter's name is Jane, which anyone who watched the Brave and the Boys stream and got to see her got to know. It's like a family name, and it was this thing that my wife and I knew was always going to be the case. My son Milo, we had nothing lined up, and every name I liked, my wife hated. Every name my wife liked, I hated. And literally, she was the one who was like, "How about Milo?" And I was a huge Descendants fan in high school. Like Milo Goes to College is one of my all-time favorite albums. Still was, and I'd seen them like 2 years prior. And so when she asked about that, yeah, there we go.
And you're right where to go to get it.
Yeah, my big joke now is like, yeah, he's maybe Milo goes to trade school. We'll see how college is going to work out for him. But yeah, so like when she suggested that, I was like, done. I'm all about Milo Okerman. Like I said, I'd just seen him a few years. So unbeknownst to her, yes, Milo is named after Milo from the Descendants.
Good catch, Bat Cato. I just read Houses of the Unholy. Oh, we're going on what crime books people have been reading. I finished Slots by Dan, I think that's Panosian from Image for Crime Books. Okay. This counts as a crime against humanity. Yeah, Civil War II. I'm really enjoying Straczynski's Captain America. Okay. Jason, welcome to the show.
I've heard good things about that run. I have not checked it out yet. And
here is your fellow sloth lover, my buddy Mal.
I was so happy to find out that she was in the Discord and got to see the picture of my adventure with the sloth from the other day. That made me very happy.
It's always good to see you, Mallory. I was hoping that you'd be here with your fellow sloth lover, Bunk. Have someone stream a wrestling video game while you two do the commentary.
I mean, I'm down. I'll be there for it.
I feel like I'm just encouraging this type of behavior by showing it.
Your audience
Feeling
is going to
much
start
better.
demanding it. Yeah.
Well, that's true. Feeling much better. Went back to work this week and recovering little by little. Yay. Good for you, Rodimus. I'm so pleased for you. I'm glad.
Awesome.
I'd be interested.
I'm glad to hear that, buddy.
Yeah, I'm interested in what changes you've had to make to continue feeling better. You don't have to say it publicly, but I'd be interested in finding out what they told you, since you are relatively young to have had that happen. I would argue that Freddie and Max are equally as hunky. Well, now, what, you're bumping me out and sticking Max in to Mallory's thing?
I feel like we don't need to have like a hunk power rankings of like OmniDog hosts. Like, I think we could just have like category hunk and it just like throw them all in there. Like,
sure.
Like, we don't need to rank them. We're all hunks. We all got this hunks. You get in there too. You get in that.
Elon, I would argue you are the equalizer hunk. Oh, okay.
See, again, we just have like OmniDog hosts and just like throw them all in there. Like banger after banger after banger.
Did just finally listen to the Playmate album? I haven't yet. I need to. Boy, is it in good shape. That album was a steal for what I got it for. Are you familiar with what he's talking about?
I am not.
I don't.
The first thing that comes to my head is like, I don't know that I would want to hear the music that they would make.
It's actually, I looked at it and it's very, it sounds like it's standards lounge type music, and
Okay.
it's Barbie Benton singing it from maybe 1973. And the story is that Kelly Junior Management works part-time in a mid-century furniture store, not consignment, but where the guy, they all go out and they find mid-century furniture and bring it in, and so it's always nicely stocked with interesting stuff. And there is actually, let me get it. I know right where it is.
What's up, Jet? How you doing?
These albums.
You guys are looking good. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. You guys having a good day? I hope you are. I hope you are. And if you're not, I hope that we're making it just a little bit better for you. And maybe by the end of the stream, you'll be having a good day.
This is the back of it.
Okay.
And this was showing in the frame at the store. And she had customers come in the store who did not know who this was. And she said, I bet my dad will know. And so she took a picture and sent it to me. And I said, that's Barbie Benton. And she laughed really loud and said, I knew you'd know. And here's the front.
Okay.
But they seem very... I think it's really... he's trying to 1975. I think they're actually... First of all, it's a cutout. As you can tell by the punched hole here, which means it did not sell particularly well. And now it's worth a lot of money, apparently. They seem very tame, the songs. It's not like what you would think. I think Hefner was trying to actually make a star out of her and appeal to the greatest common denominator. But yeah, I knew who this was, and I said, yeah, I'll buy that album. I want to hear what she has to sing.
I figured that like Playmate was like some 1980s slowcore band that I'd never heard of that like slipped through, and so I was like, boy, wouldn't it be funny if it was just like music made by a Playboy Playmate and it was like bubblegum pops, and it was like, oh no, that's basically exactly what it is.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
MD here. How are you, Muhammad? Good to see you.
Muhammad has some like really like good comic tastes. every time Mohammed drops some things in the chat about what they're reading, he was just telling me this morning that I guess they're adapting the old Animorph books into the comics now, and they're on volume 3. So I got to check that out. But yeah, Mohammed, you got some good comic taste there.
Nice. Okay, James just sent me We Were Born Into This Mess. It is a Reed Chancellor book. He did send me the cover of it. I don't own that. Is that new? How do I not know that book? I'm a fake fan. It's more of a mini comic. Oh, I do have some of his mini comics.
Didn't he Old Man Popeye was one that he did too, right? Yeah.
I do have that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I grabbed everything he had for sale at Heroes Con last year. We're not taught cursive English in Israel. LOL. We're so uneducated. I think that's totally understandable. Oh, John, I'm so sorry. I picked conservative. That's the least amount of ads I can show. I could go aggressive, but that makes me worried that if I ever went aggressive, it'd be more than every 5 minutes. That's awful.
So it's funny you mentioned conservative because ads are always the worst on YouTube as you get closer to political season. It's also when they pay out the most. But normally, like when you watch YouTube, normally you get like one ad, maybe two. Like the first ad's going to be like 10 seconds. You can't skip. Second ad, you might go. Once you start heading into political seasons, it ends up being like 3, and you can't like skip the first 2. So I'm wondering if that might have to do with it. But yeah, ads on YouTube ramp up as you get closer to a U.S. election.
I am so sorry, John. I picked the least amount of ads possible. Comic Art Channel, buddy of yours, right?
What is up? Yeah, comic. So he hasn't posted anything in a little while, but every single time he shows up, I tell people if you've ever seen me like show art and go like, oh, that looks like cool art, please go check out this channel. Really interesting takes. After the last video I want to say he did was like kind of a whole podcast after I want to say it was Heritage Auction went up, and there were some like famous pieces, but just some of the pieces that are on there, I'm shocked that he has. So like, I would highly suggest everybody go check out that channel. I think that is like, as far as like the sort of like what they call wall power in the end, like the best wall power you're gonna see, the most like how does he have that piece? That's on there.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Still works for a LinkedIn profile pic, though. You're such a charmer, Mallory. Stop it. I'm blushing. Look at Mallory making all the friends in the chat. Good for you, Mal.
I feel like that's just the OmniDog community, though. Like everybody, like one of the great things about the OmniDog community is everybody's just cool with everybody. Everyone love everyone, and just everyone, go out and just try and make each other's days better.
And Mallory says she hopes to see him on the channel soon. She will. He will. You will see him. Something. Pity ma. Don't feel bad. They stopped teaching it at my niece's private school. Cursive is a thing of the past. There a reason why comics usually use capital letters for everything. I can tell you why I use capital letters for everything, and that is because in 6th grade, my handwriting was so poor, my social studies teacher said, I want you to start printing in all caps. So I was like the early version of Cycle Cleveland. I write in all caps now all the time. And I only use cursive when I write a check. Otherwise, I never used cursive like my mom and dad did. I mean, they wrote in cursive constantly.
Speaking of Cycle Cleveland, I finally have my bike back road ready, and I am so excited to ride with my daughter this weekend. Like, that's our big activity this Labor Day weekend.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you were asking where to get a new saddle, Cycle Cleveland, in the chat, and you found Cleveland Cycles, where he originated.
Yeah. So I found, he says that he's in a legal battle with them, but honestly, it's just his house. So if anyone's looking to drop in on him, just go there.
It's okay that you're on the subject because actually this matters. Sorry, I'm still on that subject, but I just remembered that I tried to read Batman, Ego, and other tales, and the entire first story is in cursive. I got mad and gave up on reading the trade altogether. That's actually a good point, Bar, because I can't. It's been a book I've read in the past month or so, and I can't remember what it was. But the first story was in cursive, like the narrative boxes were in cursive, and I had trouble reading it. And I grew up reading cursive, and it can be hard to switch between printed letters and cursive letters. So you're not alone in having trouble reading cursive. Cursive is an odd choice, I think, for a comic book. But yeah, especially if it made you get mad and give it up.
I also find, and like specifically, because I remember Ego and I remember the lettering and kind of what Bar's talking about. I feel like cursive is harder to read smaller than it like standard printed letters. And that was like my issue. Like, I grew up learning cursive. I wrote cursive. I can still write cursive. But there were some where like I had to really like squint and kind of look, and I'm like, I can't quite tell like which one this is. Like, like even some basic things like M and N are almost identical. Yeah. It's just like how many lumps are there in it. And there were so many things where it's like this word could be this if it's slight, is that a J? Is that an F? Like there were some slight differences there that just because it is, smaller when you're looking in comic print that it definitely took me longer to read Ego than the other tales that were in there.
Yeah, and cursive, I rebelled against the capital Q. That was ridiculous that the capital Q was like a 2. I'm like, no, I'm not writing a 2 for quality. I'm just going to go Quuality. And I just said, that's a ridiculous representation of Q. Who's writing it like a 2? The founding forefathers of cursive were wrong. We all cried when we saw Wonder Woman OmniDog, but it was less scared and more from laughter and joy. Oh, thank you so much. My dad has always had a mustache. You can't imagine my dad without it. My dad had a mustache since college. He looked stressed all his life with a mustache.
My dad's another one. He before I was born, I see pictures and he's got a full beard. And then, when I was born, it was just straight mustache. So like, I'm very pro the mustache dad look.
Must be a legacy of poor print quality back in the day. Was that?
We're talking about Ego. I read Ego digitally, and it was still tough to read. I don't know if YP is talking about something else that maybe we were talking about. Like maybe this is when we were talking about the lettering in French comics, but when I read Ego, I read it on Hoopla because they've got Ego and other tales there, and that was where like there were definitely times where I had to put the magnifier on and the panel to read that.
Just so everyone knows, YP now has a really bitchin' picture of Psylocke now. It used to be, I believe, Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider. And now he has switched. And that is a very cool picture. Good job for your avatar, profile pic, whatever it is, YP.
We think that's Art Germ?
The Ghost Spider one wasn't Art Germ. It was I can't think of who it was. It was where she was putting on her like ballet slippers. Who it that doesn't really look like an Art Germ face to me, but it could be. Who is the artist here, YP? And who is the artist on the Spider-Gwen one?
We'll find out like 50 minutes from now when we catch up to this.
Actually, we're not that far behind. This is at 2:00. Before I lost all my weight, Amy used to say I looked like Peter Griffin when I would shave off my facial hair. Now she just says I look weird and I'm not allowed. That's great. Here's my Discord. Thank you. Read Time About Time. It's not a crime book, but it's about a cop and a criminal. Highly recommended. Is that the one by Howard Chaykin? I think that's the one about Howard Chaykin. If y'all are hunks, so what am I?
Wait, are we talking Time Before Time?
Oh,
because I don't know time. I don't know Time About Time, but
Time
Before
Before
Time
Time?
is the one that Declan Shalvey is writing. Which
Time
is about time traveling. Not really about cops though, so it's probably not that.
What's the Howard Chaykin book I'm thinking of? I thought it was Time. Maybe it's Time Squared or something. Wait, I know. I have it on my wish list. Let's see. No, go to
Time Squared.
Is that what somebody's saying?
Searching Time About Time comic Howard Chaykin. The first thing that comes up is to anyone who read Time Squared.
Okay, that must be it.
Yep. Time Squared,
Okay.
The Epiphany, The Satisfaction of Black Mariah, Time Squared Omnibus.
Okay, yeah, that was it. Time Squared Omnibus. I'm going to tread carefully on this one. I've already told you I think you're beautiful today. But I also don't want to get canceled. So I'm just going to stick with beautiful, and somebody else in the chat can come up with the sort of shorthand, handsome, hunk, beautiful, what that is. So as far as I'm concerned, you're beautiful. And you know what else is beautiful?
Saving $2 on your order of 3 books or less from Organic Price Books.
Yeah, and this also is beautiful.
Oh, I mean, that's the other one is beautiful. This is sitting in the Louvre when you are able to save 5% or more, which is some real dosh when you're putting together 4 books or more from Organic Price Books using the code OmniDogSit, where you can buy books like, oh, I don't know, the Once and Future 2 Slipcase Edition, which is from Organic Price Books.
And if you'd like to see what my thoughts were, I put up a review of Once and Future 1 and 2 slipcase editions. Spoiler alert, I loved them. But James will put that up in the James can put that up in the thank you for reading those. James can put that up in the comments.
So real quick, you're a fan of Dan Moore's art, right?
Very much so.
Are you the kind of fan that you're saying like, listen, if he draws it, I'll read it? Is that the kind of fan you'd say you are? Or
well,
you pick and choosy?
I feel like he did Klaus with Grant Morrison, right?
Yep,
That's Dan Moore art.
Yep.
Once and Future, World's Finest. What else has he done? Because I feel like I've read.
So he was the artist on Go-Go Power Rangers, which was excellent, really, really good character-driven stories. But I was talking with, because Jake made the proclamation on one of the streams he did that he would read, Dan Mora illustrating the phone book, and I pushed back on him. He was like, if that's true, Dan Mora was the actual interiors artist for a number of Boom Studios WWE comics back in the day. So I was gonna say, if anyone out there is a big Dan Mora fan and wants to go back, I that's a great place to check out.
Speaking of Jake, I just got a super random question from him, and he said, "Hey, super random question." I said, "Ask on the show right now." So maybe Jake will appear in the show. Kane's happy about Rodimus. Me too. I agree. No lists of hunkiest. Or hubkiest. Maybe that's a new version. We need trading cards of our hunk and smart stats.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think it would be kind of amazing to get like trading card sets of OmniDog hosts, where it's like Series 1, and then there's like the Ultra Gold Foil OmniDog. That's the chase card, and so you're cracking packs, and you're just like, oh man, I just got a Crime Corner bunk. I'm really holding out for
This is
the
my 5th one.
man. Why can't I get it? Like you can have like the different hosts and the different one. Like I really want Crime Corner Taylor. That's the one I'm looking for.
Oh my gosh. If you do want to get a laugh, you can read the meanest comment I've ever gotten on YouTube so far that I got today. Is that your random question? Yeah. Wow. That is incredibly mean. Exclamation point. That's one of the meanest things I've ever read.
Do you want to share with the class, or should we give you guys a moment?
It says it's a question. Oh, no, the question would get me canceled. So he'll ask me privately. If you do want to get a laugh, you can read the meanest comment I've ever gotten on YouTube so far that I got today. Jake is in a place where he's putting out a lot of videos.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's getting, I remember getting lots of mean comments when I first started too. I feel like I get less of them now. This is pretty mean. I'm sure the guy thinks he's funny. I don't know what video it is for Jake's, but he said, "Keep it up, dude. I fully support special needs people doing awesome work."
No, it's not even clever.
I know the guy thinks he's funny, but first of all, it throws Jake under the bus and it throws special needs people under the bus. So that is wait, I'm going to say that's...
It's just a bad comment. Like, I thought it was going to be, like, funny how mean it was, or like, dang, you really got... Like, no, it's unoriginal. It's lazy. It's not, like, it's not even mean-spirited. It's, like, bad-spirited, like,
yeah.
Do better, guy. Like, if you're going to try and, like, rake him across the coals, like, do something clever. Go after it. Like, just, meh.
Bunk says to the guy, do better.
Then also be better, but mostly just do better.
And be better. I can't wait for what the random question was that would get me canceled if I read it out loud. Doug's here. Hey guys, college football. This show found all the Halloween cereals this morning. A strap match later tonight. 2 new pups. What a day. 2 new pups. What's a strap match? Am I allowed to read that on the air?
Maybe you just did get yourself canceled.
Holy, yeah. What is that, Doug?
By the way, my hot take that I think with this crowd I'm probably fine, but gets me canceled a whole lot of other places. College football, it's just minor league football. It's just the thing that that people watch until the guys go to the NFL and the real football happens.
That is a hot take, which I so don't agree with, but you are free to make that comment. I tune in and Jess is showing his Playmate records. Mary, good to see you. This, if I had co-host calendar, you mean like if I made a calendar with my co-hosts on it?
Oh, doing like the hunks of OmniDog and everyone's a different month there.
Yeah.
And,
well,
by the way,
Mary
Bar,
and Bar.
I would like. I don't have a relationship with Mary, so I feel like I'm not qualified to go on that. But Bar, I would like to cordially invite you to the hunks. You can be our first representative lady hunk. It's there if you want it. You don't have to take it. I'm throwing the invitation out. You can absolutely be a lady hunk with us.
Yeah, I have an awful lot of women lined up to be my co-hosts, so I don't know that they'd be up for posing for a calendar. The trading card idea, I think, is fun. I'd love to make trading cards of all my co-hosts with all the interesting info about them.
Speaking of lady co-hosts, when are we getting Tracy again? I have so many questions about my sign and my family that need to be answered. And she has been like surprisingly good at it so far. So I'm feeling like I want to know more about my life, and Tracy is just the one to give it to us.
speaking of Halloween cereals, she is supposed to come. She's supposed to come over to the house to take the thumbnail picture in September, and then I'd like to see if I can get her on one of the like maybe the second Saturday in October to taste the cereals. So I think October is when I will ask her to do it, but I don't want to slow the show down too much. Let me write a note that Tracy on show. She's an empty nester now, and she's like crazy busier than ever. There's no slowing that woman down.
Like socially or with real estate? Because real estate. Really? Because
it's hopping around here.
The rest of the country, there is no inventory, so there's lots of people who want to buy, but there's nothing to buy.
Well, I think that's what it's like here too. I think things aren't on the market long, even with interest rates at this point. So she's very busy.
Yeah, good for her.
Okay, Rodimus, he's on a low sodium diet and low cholesterol diet and some exercise. Already have lost 20 pounds. Good job. Still battling an annoying cough, but thank the Lord, baby Jesus, that is going away. I'm glad that you're in such better shape. That's great. Okay, I don't understand this. Was asked her if her car had pigs in her decks. It was wintertime and she had driven from Sweden. This sounds like a Norwegian joke. Lars, what does that mean? Pigs in her decks. Wintertime. Whoa, you've got me like, what the heck? What does that mean?
Yeah, I got nothing on that. If Lars hit us with that explanation there.
Yeah. The ads for me have been beer and car ads. It all depends on your region, as no political ones have been dropped for me. And I rarely watch that much YouTube, so I haven't picked up on the political thing.
Rodimus, are you saying that YouTube is trying to get you to drink and drive with those beer and car ads? Because I would highly suggest don't, regardless of what YouTube is telling you, do not do that. Don't be doing that.
Yeah, and I don't like that there are beer ads on my channel, but I have no control over anything.
That's true. I mean, the ads that are given are more about like the cookies like that are held on the person's thing, but it seems very like not fitting that there would be like alcohol advertised on, someone who is, very publicly celebrates his sobriety and, has a community that does the same for him. So that's interesting.
And you're right about that community. It's very supportive, and I am very appreciative of it. I only had one ad until you all spoke about them and brought a second one on, getting mobile game ads myself. Ads are based on your internet cookies. If you share your internet with family or friends and they visit these topics, you'll get them too. That explains, well, Kelly, my junior management, if she's mad at me in a funny way, she will sabotage my YouTube. She knows how to fill it with a bunch of stuff that I don't even want to watch.
When you say, like, you mean your recommended video? So like you go to your homepage and
yeah, I'll go to my homepage and it's going to be a bunch of stuff that she somehow has my a YouTube password and stuff, and she'll go in there and just totally mess with the algorithm. And I pretend to get mad. Just got a Fame ad as well. Fame, like the Play movie soundtrack, or Fame?
See, I was thinking of David Bowie.
I was just going to say David Bowie.
Anyone wants to advertise me Bowie, I'm here for it.
Yeah. Cursive, cursive, cursive. Oh, maybe it's Absolute Batman that I was thinking of. Year one, or not the first Batman year one that I have. I think I have the deluxe. Yeah, that cursive writing. That's right. It's really hard.
I just have the paperback of year one that I've had for years. And I feel like, I forgot that was cursive. And I've never felt like that one was tough. But for whatever reason, Darwin, I had trouble. I'm going to look at this. Keep reading those questions.
Okay. When people are talking about their cursive. because the writing was a curse on writing. I couldn't understand it myself. Couldn't understand the first lay. I hate that as a standard for journalists. I'm thinking about this is still the calendar idea. Hating reading unclear words that you need context clues. I write Q in cursive with the loop and a big period to quote someone who's never wrong. What are we doing? That sounds like Kristen. She's never wrong, and she's already saying, what are we doing here? Bar says, the other day I watched Alien for the first time, and now I'm off to watch Aliens, which everyone keeps telling me it's even better. I'm excited. Oh, it is better. This was 15 minutes ago, so bye. Aliens is even better, and Alien was awesome.
Later, Bar.
Glad to
Real
have
quick.
you, Bar.
I would say Aliens is very different. I think it depends on what you're looking for, because I think, not to go back on genres, but I think they are almost like different genre movies. Whereas like the original Alien is basically like a horror movie. It's that claustrophobic, stuck with an unknowable thing, whereas Aliens is, it's kind of the same thing with Terminator and Terminator 2, where it's like, the second one is almost more beloved, but it's like, in some ways it's tough to compare them, because like that's the big action set piece where it's like, big going over, and you get Ripley and the big, yellow thing at the end
or whatever it was.
Yeah. Whereas like in the first one, it's just like trapped on an unknowable thing. And like, there's a beauty to that. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I think they're just different, and I love them both.
I love them both too. 3 and 4, not that excited about.
Not a big David Fincher fan. 3 was the first thing that he did, and it killed his career for a long time.
I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of 3 and 4, and that's when I stopped. I haven't seen any other Alien movies since that. Oh no, well, I saw 4, and then I said, okay, this is enough.
Yeah, he did 3, and it was like such a bomb, because he was this young up and comer, and they were like, okay, we're gonna give you the next Alien franchise, and it's gonna be great. And then it was like such a bomb that like for a long time, like he had to rebuild his career, and he did it with music videos. Like he worked a lot with 9 Inch Nails, doing a lot of like those. And then from there, he got like the second sort of, phase of his film career. And then at that point, like he kind of got to go on and do it. But yeah, Alien 3 murdered his career.
Wow, I did not know that. You are just a font of knowledge. I dig it. And we're talking Declan Shalvey's Time After Time.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's, I was reading the
Time
first
Before
few,
Time. Okay.
Yeah. I was reading the first few issues on that. It's tough because that's one that he's not drawing, and I didn't love the artist on it. It was a little bit slower, but it's a cool time travel story. And I think now like they've got 2 or 3 trades of it, whereas I was reading the first few issues. I'd be down to give it a check again, because it wasn't hooking me initially, but I feel like that might be one that's like better if you get a chunk of it to go on.
A message from Jake. Tell Bunk seeing him in a tank top made me feel better. So there you go, doing your community service.
I wonder if that means we've got a comment from him like 40 minutes from now. And he's skipping the line of waiting to get to it by just texting you, so that way he can get his comment in right now.
So do we dare talk about one of the books, or should we just keep going on our tangent? Maybe I should put it to the chat, which I'll find out in half an hour.
Well, yeah. we can jump down. I mean, it's been an hour and a half. Like this is normally when we would do it right there.
Prometheus and Covenant are very good for the lore. Okay, good. I do kind of want to see those.
All right. Current chat. I will go down to the new stuff, so that way you don't lose your place. What do you guys think? You want to slowly working through this, or do you want to hear about one of the books, or do you want to see a bunk haul of books? Because
let's do that.
Okay, cool. Because that will lead into these right here. So I've been like pretty good recently about not buying new books. I've been trying to work through the stuff I have. I've been trying to read like new stuff that like digitally. I've been pretty good about it. except this past month. August was a big month for me. Not coincidentally, August was a month where OPB did Whatnots every week instead of once a month.
I heard about that. Yeah.
So I picked up some books that I'm super excited for. Most of them coming from OPB Whatnots. So first, I kind of showed before, but it's the Once and Future Part 2 slipcase edition. Goes with my first edition that I got from them. Super excited to check this out.
And let me just say, I've started noticing colorists a lot more. And I did make a mention of this. Tamra Bonvillain's colors in that book, both books, but especially book 2, are amazing.
She did the colors on Kieran Gillen's other big one, The Wicked and the Divine.
Oh, yeah.
That
I
he
never
did
finished that up.
I think Jamie McKelvey's the artist on that one. I don't love Jamie McKelvey's line work. It's not bad. It's just not sort of my favorite style. But I loved her colors on that. Like that really sort of like kept the artwork for me, or kind of saved that for me there. But yeah, she does excellent work, and obviously she's worked with
such an atmospheric piece because of her coloring. It's gorgeous.
Well, especially like drawing all of the legends and antiquities. Like if you want that to hit, you need like everything kind of going there, and she hits that.
Yeah.
Got the Zdarsky Daredevil Volume 1. I hadn't read this stuff. I was waiting for the Omni. Super excited to check this out.
Nice.
As you can see, I'm part of the way through. I'll get there.
Good.
Following a stream that I did on Very Fine, where we were talking about some historical stuff, grabbed one of the volumes of the complete Terry and the Pirates.
Wow.
Is this something you're familiar with?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, Terry and the Pirates was just starting to sort of end its run when I started reading the comic pages, but I remember the storyline-ish. Not as well as I remember things like Gasoline Alley and Alley Oop and stuff, but or Little Abner and Pogo. But yeah, I remember Terry and the Pirates.
So Curtis brought this up and talked about how like this informed a lot of the sort of storytelling choices, including things like Frank Miller. And I don't remember who else it was, but there was someone else that I want to say was on BJ Kick's Comics Are Dope podcast that talks about this being as like one of the basis and inspirations for the stuff they were doing. So found a good price on this.
Oh, a creator? He was interviewing a creator? Okay.
Yeah. And it talked about, and I was like, all right, this is the second time I've heard people talking about this having a basis on what they're doing. These are the strips 43 to 44. So excited to check this out. And this is the big, like, complete edition where it's
those things are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is that from Curtis's company that he does work for?
He was making mention of, I don't think this is one.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this wasn't one that he worked on personally.
Okay.
Who's doing the rest? Yeah, this is an IDW book.
Okay.
So the next one, I have to do a little queuing up. So you are a noted Jed McKay fan, correct?
I am.
You're
Black Hat rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just that. You talk about Strange. You're a lot of love for. Yep. A lot of love for Jed McKay, right?
Yep.
See a guy you'd say is a blind read. You see his name on a title and you'd read it.
Yeah.
Okay,
At
great.
this point, yeah.
I cannot wait to read Magic the Gathering from Boom Studio.
You totally set me up for that.
Jed McKay right there. Yeah. So this is Deluxe Volume 1 by Jed McKay. And I cannot wait to discuss this with you. There are crimes that happen with it, so I think we could talk about this on a crime court. There's some kidnapping, there's some extradition. So
extradition. Wow.
Yeah, across planes, even not just countries, but across planes.
Wow.
So this is the first deluxe volume, really big, chunky book from Boom, and much like a lot of their stuff, the entire back section is all just full page of the variants, which I love when they do that because there are so many cool variants. I mean, just like opening to this, like every
Let me highlight
maybe.
you.
So yeah, so the entire back section, instead of doing the Marvel trade thing where you get where it's like the four all together and you can't really see the image, they're giving like absolute full billing to the variants that are back in here. And one of the really cool things about Magic is because there are so many characters, a lot of these are going to be people's favorite cards that don't necessarily show up in the storyline. And so you get just different artists because, you know, one of the big appeals of Magic is just the great fantasy art. It's the
Yeah.
big something like 75% of all fantasy art that's commissioned currently is done by Magic. And so just so many cool artists, like different cool takes on it. But yeah, it's your boy Jed McKay.
Okay,
So,
hang on. I'm not opposed to reading this. Can you give me the elevator pitch for what happens? Because
so
I
first,
know it's got to have some kind of through line story of what's going on.
so yeah,
And I'm not
so
familiar with Magic the Gathering at all. So would I
yeah,
be able to understand it? Is there a setup? Things like that?
so honestly, I would say this is probably not one that's worth reading for you. That was more of just like kind of a bait and switch joke. Um,
That's fair.
I have really wanted to make, and now that I have this, I probably will make a video talking about sort of the Magic comics since no one really talks about them.
Mm.
But that would require me to make a video, and I haven't done a new one of those in like 4 months, and you know, just getting longer and longer. But basically, the idea of Magic in general is that every set, so every time new cards come out, they're set on a different plane, and all the different planes have like different themes. It's like a different world. So think multiverse kind of thing. So each of the different worlds have a different theme, and they have different characters that come with them. And the main characters of the book are what's called planeswalkers, and they can jump between them. And so you get to see a lot of different fantastical worlds. There are like really cool monsters and beasts and things like that. You can see there's a big scary Cyclops who's right there, who's part of the Gruul Guild. And this was a way that basically Magic fans who love the cards could sort of see the characters that were there brought forth into into a new world. So this has 2 different arcs that they're basically 2 different stories. They're set on 2 different planes that kind of touch off. They do a pretty clever thing here where they take old mentions from cards and incorporate them in. But honestly, like, one of the things as I was reading through this is like, I don't really know who this book is for. It seems like they wrote it so that it was like anybody could read this. If you're, if you're Richard Garfield and you invented the game itself, you'll love this. If you've never played a game of Magic before and you don't know what tapping for mana means, you'll love this. And it seems like it kind of sits in this weird nebulous zone where it like tries to cater to both sides and kind of misses the mark on both. Where there's a lot of things that I think if you have no basis in Magic whatsoever, there are going to be a few moments that like they make as high impact things you're going to be scratching your head and it's like, sorry, why do I care about that? And if you're someone who knows about those things, you're going to get frustrated when there's a lot of moments where they spend like, a lot of time kind of explaining these things or, extending a scene. Like there's one of the main worlds that they do here is a place called Ravnica, which is defined by 10 guilds. And it's a really clever way to do it where like each of the guilds covers a different things. So like the Golgari run the Undercity where like dead things go. And it's this like, this world of like, of death and decay, but they provide all the farming there because they use the dead from the above world to like fertilize it. And they bring the food to these other places.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's the Demir Guild who are like, they're the spy masters. They're the secret sellers. They know about all of these different things. And it's like, it's a very cool plane and each of the guilds has their own identity. And there's like one part I know where, like as you're going and it's the guilds going through and it spends like 3 pages of like, basically this guild did this thing that they're very well known for. And like the first time you see the three of them, it's like, okay, that's cool. I'm getting like an emotional response from this. And you turn the page and like, oh, we're still doing this. Okay, and it's like very clear that they're trying to explain what the guilds do and doing like this showing thing. But because there's 10 of them, it way like by the time you get through, it's like, all right, I'm kind of out of this moment. Like I had the emotional impact to begin with. Now I'm like, I get it. You need to show me what the guilds do, because if I don't know, I don't know. And it kind of lands in this weird resonant thing. But I got this as a throw in with the Once and Future. And honestly, it's not bad. This is not a recommend, I would say, necessarily for anyone.
Okay.
But yeah, it's more just like the fact I feel like this is the Jed MacKay book at a time that Jed MacKay is one of the hottest names in comics. You know, he's, leading a bunch of the stuff at Marvel that like nobody knows. Jed MacKay's writing a Magic title for Boom and has been for a while. Like that's just like unknown information.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he's writing X-Men and Avengers.
That's right.
First time since Stan Lee, according to Dom of X, who will be on the show at 5:00 today. I'm doing a double header. After this show, I rest, then come right back for live collected editions at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Well, Dom's also going to be doing a double header because Dom was on Very Fine this morning. So
he was
stretching out your comic legs there. Just finishing off the haul. One of your favorite books, Wade and Waringo, Fantastic Four. And then lastly,
and these were all Whatnot books? I mean, yeah, from OPB?
Most of them.
Most of them, okay.
Yeah, so the Terry and the Pirates was eBay. The Daredevil was a sponsor of OmniBros, which I can't say on this channel right now.
You can say it. It's okay. I buy books from ISD too. It's okay.
And then last one is a very beat up copy of Power Rangers Lost Chronicles, which is a pass for me, but it was so cheap. And I have so many of the other ones that I was like, you know what? Like I had referral credit and it like this book did not even cost all of my referral credit that I had. So I definitely need to do some repairs on it because it is very, very ripped through.
It's jacked up. Yeah.
And honestly, this is another book. Even if you are a big Power Rangers fan, you do not need this book. It has no bearing on the story. It's not that great. I'm just stupid like that.
I did read, Muhammad, the first 4 Power Rangers hardcovers, oversized hardcovers that came out 5 years ago or so. That led up to, like, I think Shattered Grid was number 4. Is that right?
Shattered Grid's number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
Year 1, year 2, Shattered Grid. If you include Go-Go Power Rangers, which wasn't out by the time you were doing that, but if you're doing that chronologically, that would go after year 2 before Shattered Grid.
Okay. I read all 3, enjoyed all 3, but didn't feel that I was going to continue. And so I sold them to a friend or gave them to a friend. I don't know, but I have read them, just like I read the first 12 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles books and loved those, but I didn't see myself going back and rereading them. I do understand the emotional connection everybody has to those books. I do get it.
And then the last book I'm going to highlight on my haul.
Once and Future, there's my review. Oh, I have that book.
You do? Oh, what a coincidence. Should we talk about what we thought about this book?
Elon is the one who suggested this book to me. It is by French author, writer, and French artist.
And it's an adaptation of Bussy's novel in French. So Duval was sort of like the one who adapted it into this form. And one of the things I really like about French graphic novels is they actually show the artist first. So typically in American comics, the writer is listed first, and then the artist, and then colorist, and then letterer, and anybody else. In French, it's the other way around, where typically the illustrator gets top billing. So Casagrande is the illustrator on this, and then Duval again adapted Bossy's work of the original novel.
Would you? I do not want to give away too much in this book because I'm going to spoil it right away and just say I loved this book. I found it to be an incredibly engaging. There's crime in it, but it's more of a mystery with threads that go through it that pull together. But to talk about it too much, I think we would spoil what I
100%.
found to be an astonishing ending. I can show off the art, and you can tell maybe how you felt about it without giving away too much.
Well, I think we can also give a background on sort of what this is, but I 100% agree. And I would say that this is a book, as I was reading through, I was enjoying it. I was pretty invested. I was pretty interested. The end made me love it and made me like rethink about everything before there.
I had to go back and reread the whole thing.
I meant to do that, and then I forgot as I was reading through the others. So but this is one that it like once I finished, I was like, I want to go back and read this again. Which is about as much as I'll say on the end there. But if you want to start showing the art, I'll kind of cue up the beginning here.
This starts with the three girls here. Let's see.
So the page before that, three women lived in a village. The first was wicked, the second a liar, and the third was selfish. And then you can see going through right there, it tells the story of three women in the town of Giverny, which was the French town that Monet lived in. The first was over 80, a widow. Well, almost. The second was 36 and never cheated on her husband yet. The third was nearly 11, and all the boys in her class wanted her to be their girlfriend. And so it's a story about these three women in this very picturesque town, very historical town, that all feel kind of trapped in here. They feel like the town itself is a Monet painting where time stands still, everything is preserved, and you can't really ever get out of where you are. And in this town, and really what sets this off, a prominent businessman is found dead and murdered in a stream. And from there, it sets off a police investigation into what killed him. And it's about sort of, while that's all going on, about the three lives of these three women and sort of, how they come about as part of this. And all throughout, again, we mentioned that this is the town that Monet is in. It's got these beautiful, almost, for the naturalistic scenes, it almost gives an impressionist vibe with like the color usage, the greens, the blues, the sort of the soft lighting. And it's also done as you can probably notice on there, where it's colored. I don't know. I assume it's digitally, but it, at times it looks like it's sort of a gouache with sort of, some ink stamps. There are times where it looks like it's colored pencils, especially further on in the book. It gets a colored pencil look that isn't necessarily there at the beginning. It is this beautifully, beautifully drawn book, and less about the solving of the crime is certainly one of the driving things, and it's what moves the plot forward. But so much of this book is following the lives of these three women. And when you sort of, as you go on, you see that they might be connected in certain ways, with just as far as like how it interfaces with the town. And it's, again, the ending does things to this book that that just make you question everything that you read before.
I will I will. That is a perfect description. I will only add to that I have many books of the year contenders. Right now, this is number one. It shook me emotionally, which means I was engaged and caring about the characters. It surprised me. It told the story of the three women in a way that pulled me into caring about the three women and their interactions with the people around them. I think it's a perfect when you get emotionally invested in characters in a comic book, that is not something to be overlooked. That is a big deal when you can get emotionally invested in these fictional characters. And it was, to me, that is the sign of a book of the year, when you get emotionally invested in the characters, and the art has a lot to do with it, because the art is very beautiful, and it's used, the beauty's used sparingly, but it still conveys the beauty of the town. And even though they feel trapped there, it conveys why it's such a tourist mecca because of Monet's paintings and stuff. So, I mean, I was moved. I wasn't moved to tears, but I just went, oh, at the end of this thing. And I was just like, wow, Ilan, full credit to Ilan for suggesting this. I mean, I've owned this since 2020, apparently. Either I kickstarted it or bought it. I don't remember, but wow, this gets my highest possible recommendation. And I probably give out too many 5s out of 5 on Goodreads, but I don't think Goodreads system is set up really well. I think it should be a 10-star system where I could give more books like 8.5 and 9.2 or something. But if this was on Goodreads 10, it would be 10 out of 10, because everything meshes together to be a remarkable book for me.
So I think back to I used to read IGN comics reviews just because, back in the day, like in the mid 2000s, there weren't a lot of places that were reviewing weekly comics online, and IGN was one of them. And they had their system, and the top 2 categories, the top 2 superlatives they could give was must read, and the number 1 was must have, which, must have was this is a book you want in your collection. This is the kind of thing you're going to return to. This is a must have. And I think, it's only about 160 pages or so. So when, it's very different than saying one of the omnibus that you see behind there. Like I finished it and I had to go back and reread it. Like it's almost made for multiple readings and to pick it up and kind of go through there again. It's not very long. You can see it's not that thick, but it's between the art that you want to take time and really absorb and sort of everything that's going on. It reads longer than it looks, which is, I think, a compliment to it, just that you want to stay with it that much longer. But yeah, this was excellent. I want to say Elon said that this was his book of the year last year, and I totally see why.
Yeah, if I had read it when I actually got it, it would have been my book of the year in 2020. So yeah, it's only the end of August, so we've still got 4 more months, 5, 10, 12 months. What do we have? September, October, November, December. 4 months left. I agree with you. This is a must-have in your collection. It's not even a crime book as much as it is kind of an observation of lives book that revolve around the crime committed.
What the real crime would be is somebody passing on this book.
Well said. Yeah, I agree with that must-have, must-read, must-own type mentality. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, and the nice thing too is, so this right here, it's a I don't know how it was originally printed, but it's a nice size. You can see right here, comparing it to a trade paperback. I'm always so bad at lining this up. You can see
it's got it. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, you can see it's nice big trim size. The art really pops off. It's I got through this in 2 reading sessions. I tried to do it in 1. It was a little bit later at night. I got a part of the way, and I was like, I can't do this. And this book needs. This is not I need to push through and finish it. This is I need to be enjoying it. I'm not reading it just to get through it. But you could definitely do it in one session. And it's $30 from Magnetic Press. I mean, it's an easy book to get a hold of. It's well worth it.
Nicely said. Let's see. Oh, Jake's here. Love you both.
Aw, love you, buddy.
People are bashing on the guy. Yeah, I agree with that. That was the mean thing. Oh, and Max is right. I would optimistically read them as two separate statements. That's true.
Sorry, which statements are we talking about?
That was the one where Jake, the guy, was being mean to Jake.
Oh, we were saying, "Hey, great job, buddy." And then
up,
also,
dude. And then separately, I fully support. Yeah,
yeah. No, if you read it separately, like absolutely, like
good job,
please.
Max.
Yeah, good job for you doing that. And also, it's great when people with special needs, get a chance to do great things.
Bunk he knows he's missing the Berlin Bash. Strap match is on right now. Is that part of the Berlin Bash? What is happening here?
I would assume that's one of the, honestly, since SummerSlam, I'm way behind. Like that was such a high that I kind of checked out. So I assume it is some type of match that's going on, but I'm not sure what the card is for it yet.
Here's the missing Hayden. We've been missing Hayden, and here Hayden is. The hunkiest man on the internet, and Bunk too. Peace
Hayden.
and love to you, Hayden. Love you.
Hayden.
Glad to see you here. We were worried.
How are you going to build me up like that and then just tear me down? I mean, yes, I realize that this, I realize, but come on. I thought we had something. Come on. I wore my French's tank top for you. Sacre bleu.
OmniDog trading cards before or after? Oh, OmniDog Jeopardy. Don't worry, I'm getting to OmniDog Jeopardy. I have a lot coming up, but it's
OmniDog Jeopardy?
Yeah, it's X-Men Jeopardy, and I'm going to get Peter M and Very Fine Condition, and maybe Dom or Riley or Tyler Chu. I'll see who the third one's going to be, but I definitely. So it's going to take some working out of schedules because of Fakakta, Peter M's New Zealand schedule. It's hard to schedule him. But I love that guy, and he has to participate. It's all about X-Men, and actually James has set it up pretty cool. I do have a couple things I need to figure out still, James, and we can talk about those behind the scenes.
That'll be fun. I'm into that.
Okay, good. It is something about college ball, I think.
About minor league football?
Yeah, maybe. If we do a co-host calendar, very fine has to be February, the shortest month.
Jake, don't pretend like you're some giant over there.
Pigger is what you have in winter tires, and deck is the Norwegian word for tire. I'm not sure I'm still clear on what the joke was.
I'd have to go back and see like the translation next to the
Pigger
original
in her
setup.
deck. Tires, yeah. We're talking about the Barbie Benton album when she was interviewed in Norway after driving from Sweden, good for Barbie Benton, driving in Europe, Scandinavia, all those places. It was Robin Year One. This is cursive. It was also bad in Promethea. That's right, the cursive. Hot take: Aliens is my least favorite in the franchise.
More than 3? Really?
Alien equals horror. Yep. Aliens equals.
And that's what I was. Every year for Halloween, I watch Alien and I watch The Thing. Because Alien is a horror movie and it's great. It gives claustrophobic feels so well.
Now I got a laser hair removal at. Oh, well, that's on me because I did a video on how I laser hair removal some stuff. So yeah, that's on me. Alien Romulus was great. Oh, this was the most recent one. Wow. Yes, we just reached it. Oh my goodness, I'm behind. Speak on at least one of these books. Bunk Hall, cursive. We don't come here for book review. Well, okay. Oh yeah, I heard something about Local Man.
That's the Tim Seeley one. I can't remember who he's doing that one with, but yeah.
Is that on Hoopla?
Yep, it's an Image title. I'm pretty sure it's
has
Image.
It been collected?
I don't think it's all done yet, but the first few volumes are on there.
Okay. Tangent. Bunk Hall. This is some math he's throwing at us. Thank you. Now, since when did we actually talk about books and not just go on tangents here in OmniDog's Vault? We spent 2 hours on tangents.
So the first 2 trades of Local Man are out, both available on there. Although they're up to, they're up to issue. Wow, wait, what? They're advertising Local Man number 25.
Whoa. I'm not getting that. That's getting a deluxe.
But previously, the last issue that came out before that was only issue 13. So I don't know what's happening with that numbering. But yeah, you can read the first 2 volumes on Hoopla.
Oh wait, I get it. Tangent sin/cosine equal tangent. Okay, now I get I had to go back to high school algebra to get that joke. Very good, Mom. Tamara Bonvillain is my favorite colorist. Matt Wilson did the colors for Wicked and Devion.
Yep.
Well, that's different than Wicked and Divine. He said for Wicked and Devion. That's a different book.
Yeah. Matt Wilson also did for Paper Girls, known for his great love of Pinks. Also, he's a big Atlanta Hawks fan. All right, so Josh or anybody else in here, what's the other one? Because I know Tamara, there was another series that she did. Which is the one I'm thinking of? It's not Wictive. Because that was Maddie Wilson. All right, someone hit me with the one that I'm thinking of, not Wictive.
Chris was good. Good to see you, Chris. Jess fell for that with ease. Don't fall for it. He did the same thing to me with Dan Moore in wrestling. This was the magic one. Yeah, I got baited and hooked. Yeah. You're okay, X-Camera. We just now talked about it. One of the books. Magic the Gathering lore is very good. The only thing I know about Magic is they did a Doctor Who collab, which I doubt is in that book.
It's not, because there wouldn't really be any story to tell, because the cards and the Doctor Who set were basically just taking moments from the actual franchise and putting them on cards. So if you tried to do an adaptation of that, it's like an adaptation of an adaptation. So it would be just go watch Doctor Who.
Just got an ad for the boys merch. Love the idea. The show critical about consumerism and corporates, funded by Amazon as official merch. Get them now.
Well, I mean, that's like when Fight Club got a video game, which was, again, like, so much about Fight Club was, about how we are not the things we own. And then it's like, also, here's other things you can own about Fight Club.
Here's Bunks, which is in my description. His video channel, his YouTube channel, his channel.
Eventually there will be new videos, but it hasn't happened for a while.
Bunk pinned you to the mat and got the 3 count there, Jess. Yes, even I understand that. This was a long elevator ride of a pitch. Dom of X here. I was just talking about you, Dom. Welcome. Are you fresh and ready for our show in less than 2 hours?
I think the question is, are you going to be? Because, there's got to be a time where we give you a hard out, so that way you can go out, take your rest, and do it.
3:09. I think 3:30 has to be when I stop. So that'll give us a chance to at least talk about the other 2 books.
Good news is I think there's less to talk about those 2 than there is with Blackwater Lilies.
Okay. Kane Morning, the Power Rangers book.
I mean, to be fair, that book kind of deserves it. It shouldn't exist. It's not great.
Yes, we did, Alon. We didn't like it. We loved it. We loved it, buddy. Your recommendations are always welcome here. And you'll be on the show next month.
Give me the cane.
Yoink.
You got after me for my Stream Deck explanation too. Sometimes I make things take a whole lot longer than they need to. That's what you're here for.
Maybe you need to reread it, Chris. Maybe I mean, I immediately reread it, and it was like two completely different reads. But the first read I feel was the best read, and then the second read was more informed read. But yeah, give it another shot. Grande is a great artist from Comic Art Channel who knows their art. Yeah, he has special needs. He needs me. You're the hunkiest in my heart. Oh, here's Farhan. Farhan, I haven't seen you forever. How are you doing, my friend?
What's going on?
Nice. So good to see you, buddy. I hope things are going well.
My day is always made better when Farhan is part of it. It's just nothing but positivity and love in all of Farhan's interactions.
Farhan's awesome. I haven't seen him in months. I'm so glad to see him. Okay, then, yeah. Name a random chord. So there's random chords. Oh, what the heck? I'm caught up. So everybody can come back now. I'm caught up. Everybody that left because we were doing the topic.
Well, since we've got about 18 minutes before we've got hard out for just nap time. We,
I already napped. I went back to bed early this morning. Woke up.
I know. I had to hold down the drive time radio show on my own.
That's why
so many caller 11s who won books from you. So you got a lot of shipping to do on that one, that I promise.
I woke up at 3:30 and couldn't get back to sleep, and I'm just like miserable at 8 o'clock. And I said, I better just create this show because I don't know if I'm going to be awake at 11 or 12 to post it. So yeah, I did create it early, and I made sure I created the show with Dom of X and Webhead Son of 5, the live essential collected editions for September.
Wait a sec. Does that mean that Webhead has been booted from that role and Dom has taken over? Or is Webhead on that too?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Webhead and Dom are on it. Yes.
Okay. So I was going to say, man, talk about some student has become the master stuff right there.
I mean, he's running Very Fine Conditions channel. He's a major player in comicreleases.com.
Well, right, but I mean, Comic Releases is Webhead's baby. So the idea that he's just like booting him off and he's like, look at me, now I am Comic Releases over Webhead.
Okay,
Dom's taking over.
Okay, this is coming from Bunk, not me. Anybody, Dom. I didn't say any of that.
Webhead, he's coming for you. Watch out. The calls are coming from within the house.
Okay, I recognize Becky Lynch and Jay Cargill. Chelsea Green, I don't recognize her name, but I do recognize Dakota Kai's name.
Chelsea Green's my girl, and you only recognize Dakota Kai because Samantha said she used to train wressling with her back in Australia.
Oh, that's right.
But, yeah, Chelsea Green is hilarious. She's my favorite. She's her whole shtick is that she's you know what a Karen is, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a total Karen. She's never taking responsibility for her losses. She's trying to pin them off on someone else. She tries to get other people to do her work, and she's amazing. She's so good.
Nice. He's booting Webhead like I'm booting Jordan.
That's
yeah. Webhead is going to come into I I don't know. The chat's going to be hot when we start the show in a couple hours.
At this point, I feel like you're just going to need to just like, sorry, Dom, you don't get your, we're just going to roll this on over and you're just going to like midstream replace the thumbnail and title. And it's going to be like an 8-hour long stream between the two of them.
He's also a weekly member of the Brave and the Boys. I'm sure Very Fine has something to say about that. When I told him Dom was going to be on the show, he's like, that's not in the contract. He has a contract.
Tuesday morning at 10:51 a.m. or maybe sometimes it's 1 o'clock or maybe sometimes it's 11. It depends on who's eating what muffin. But yeah, you can check out Dom on Tuesday Titans over at the Brave and the Boys.
Bunk leaving you hanging there, Jake. Yeah, you do sound mean. What's going on there? Organize and learn release dates for your collected edition purchases, comicreleases.com. And I do have a date for Samantha. Super interesting person. She's going to be in October. She's going to work on her. The only thing that's keeping her, besides her travel, is her Wi-Fi. So we might see her. Let's see. I think 8 o'clock is like 10 in the morning. So 5, I don't know, 5 p.m. collected editions. We might see her later on, but I am definitely going to have her on. And she's so interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. Wait, I feel like Dom said something. That doesn't mean they can't stop. Oh, the Dom. Now he's talking in third person.
And he gets a duh now. Now
The
it's like
Dom, the Dominator. Lots of good books in September, no doubt, but October for me is going to hurt. You have a host for Batter Days in September? As a matter of fact, I can't do the first. Let's double check here. 7th is a Batter Day. 7th, I do not have a Batter Days show because I have my best friend in town and I have to pick him up at the airport.
I'm gonna be here in Cleveland. I'm not going.
My second best friend will be in town.
Okay, that makes
sense. The best friend I grew up with, not my best friend on YouTube.
Okay, I got you. All right. Whew.
But September 21st marks the return of the Minister of Comics, and we're going to talk about Batman the Animated Series, which I finished and loved. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that.
I was going to say, come on, it's all content.
I will let my feelings be known on the show with the Minister on the 21st.
Which may or may not involve love. Who's to say?
Right. Okay, well, these are both... now, these were interesting to me because these are both heist books, and the last thing I believe we covered was Kaiju Score. Also a heist book, or was there something in between?
Now, after that, we did Hell is a Squared Circle and
Miss Tree.
Yep.
Okay, but heist books are exciting.
So yeah, that's what I really like about these. Is that like these are fun crime, because I think way too often like crime we think of sort of like noir, we think of just like real like dark and downer, and it doesn't need to be. And I think these books are like the prime example of like how much fun a crime book can be.
They have a blast. And they're amazing. Do you want to you're good at the narration while I show the pictures. Do you want to do that?
Sure. All right, so go ahead and make yourself full screen. Find a good place. Everything, I was going to say, you'll probably need to skip the bath scene at the beginning. There's like 2 pages there, but
yeah, I'll be careful. There is some light nudity in this. There's
very, and it's very stylized. It's at no point is this an erotic book.
They try not to kill people, but people do end up being killed. But you can see right there, she's stealing a painting.
So, as far as narration, so
in a world filled with fine art scattered around the world in museums, 2 women will unite to make sure that they get their hands on it.
Basically, this is the story of two longtime art thieves, Sam and or Alex and Carol, and very very different. Carol is a former world-class gymnast who is sort of the hands-on, going out planner, very serious. Alex is the distracted, aloof, goofy, lovable one whose life is kind of a train wreck. And it's the sort of odd couple pairing about them going through. And we get as was shown there, we get an art heist at the beginning to kind of set this things off. And then the main point of this book is that they get a buyer lined up who wants the piece, the Grande Odalisque, which is in the Louvre. It's one that you've all seen a million times. It's a Renaissance painting where the woman has 3 extra vertebrae. It's sort of a celebration of sort of the beauty of humans, and it was taking a stance against realism. So she has this very long back. You can see her butt, and it's she's kind of looking over. If you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that one. And it's all about them needing to break into the Louvre. And along the way, they add, as you can see right there, another member of their crew who is introduced when you just see them driving around a track doing awesome motorcycle flips. And that's kind of what I love about this book, is that we're talking before about sort of Black Water Lilies being this very character driven, this sort of the lives around a crime, this sort of slow pastoral village and how things build. This is right here. It's just like, how much fun can we cram into 130 pages? And we end up getting this team up. The third member comes in, Sam, who is that awesome motorcycle jumping person. And it moves very, very quickly. So I talked about how I loved that Kaiju Score is able to tell sort of all of the elements of a standard criminal story, of the planning it, getting the crew, getting acquired, all in 4 issues. Very much the same kind of thing. We get everything happening. Their main supplier at one point gets taken. They need to go get them. They have plans involving hang gliders. So much about this book is just playing to the rule of cool, which is not, how realistic is this heist? Should we plan for these things? It's just, is it cool? Is it going to look cool? And that's what this is. This is just a fun, fast read, very stylized art that I happen to really, really like. And this is a book. You talk about how when you did Black Water Lilies, you enjoyed it both times, but you enjoyed it on your first read more than your second. This was my first time rereading it since I read it the first time. And I was like, man, I forgot just how outright fun this book is. And I enjoyed, I would say, my second read more than my first. Because it's just, I think my first time I was going in, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a prestige book. It's going to be maybe a little bit of a thinker. It's going to make me, consider, man's place in the world. It's going to make me think, what is the role of art? Who gets to decide who owns art? Is it, it's none of those things. It's just this awesome story of 3 women going out, trying to steal art. And just, of course, things don't go as planned and they have to go around. And it's fun. It's stylized. It's beautiful. I love Viv's sort of like scratchy line work that goes in there, where it's just these sort of like, everything. Like this page is sort of a perfect example how it's not really come on. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So you can see like it, his figure is this sort of pretty clear image set against these scratchy lines, horizontal. We have this contrast of his mostly vertical frame against all of these horizontal lines. It's so much of the book. It's just, lots of like sort of like little slight scratchy line work. It's not sort of these long flowing lines that you're getting together. It's not, sort of an elegant expression. And I really enjoyed that particular style for it.
And it has a sequel.
Before we go, I mean, anything you want to? Because I'm talking about the book here, but I want to hear what you thought of it first before we go on.
Well, the problem is you describe it so well that I don't really have much to say afterwards, which is why I like this format, because you do narrate it really well while I can show the art. I agree with you. It was fun and lighthearted. They bicker back and forth like siblings that love each other. But they genuinely get mad at each other because Alex is such a flake, and somehow they are able to.
I love Alex so much in the first book. I mean, she's written to be like the lovable, honey type, but also like she's very capable. She's also like she's doing everything for her. Like Alex was, I thought, such a fun character in the first one.
Yeah, she's very lighthearted, and there are consequences to their actions, so they can get hurt, and they do have to hurt other people, although they try not to. I felt like, just like I did in Kaiju Score, even though they're stealing, I'm rooting for them.
100%. Yeah,
it's they're having fun, and in both cases, first of all, in a heist book or heist movie, you've got planning, you've got the financial backing, you got the planning, you got the heist, you got the aftermath. If it actually went according to plan, you don't have a book or a movie. Something's got to screw up in one of those areas, and to make it interesting, just like in Kaiju Score. So I liked that between the two books, the things that screwed up, I know there's a better word for it. The things that went awry happened in different places and happened differently to make the characters have to really think on their feet for how they were going to get out of this particular situation. It may not always be the heist. It could be the aftermath or the planning or the money, whatever. Usually it's a heist, and there's aftermath problems, especially in Olympia. Well, actually, there's big aftermath problems at the end of this book. So that's what I like about lovable characters in a heist, that you end up, even though they're, stealing from the Louvre. I mean, you can't get much ballsier than that, to steal a painting from the Louvre. You do end up rooting for them. They seem fun and likable and relatable and things like that. So I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm glad that I got these both in a fun box set as you did.
I didn't remember. I got mine with a DoorDash. I got mine with junk mail, and I was making a joke that I thought you knew about that, and you thought I was like, look at this cool thing I got. You just got a stupid box, and
I didn't even. Well, that's what you said. I didn't pick up on that. I didn't see the DoorDash. I thought you got 50% off on your next order from wherever you got it from. I didn't see the DoorDash. You even
said in DoorDash, like I said,
did I?
Yeah, you were like, oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Off DoorDash. And I was like, does he not realize that he has this in his circular flyers that come every week? Like, no one uses this. This isn't a thing you want. They threw a piece of trash in here with mine, and so I thought being pretty clear, where I was like, you got this cool box set, but hey, mine came with this trash, and you're like, look at him trying to make me jealous about it. Again, that offer still stands. I will send that to you if you want that DoorDash offer that badly.
Well, you did also have your dog in there, so that definitely pulled at my heartstrings. Anytime you've got a dog in a picture, that's worthwhile.
He's a good boy.
I bet. So yeah, I genuinely love the characters, love the art, love the writing. I felt like this was it was like fun and sexy and not sensual, but fun and sexy and action packed. And I don't know. I think both of these could be made into good movies. I think
someone in the Discord was saying that that Netflix, I think, did an adaptation. So I think
Oh,
I don't know if it's available at least in France. I don't know if it's available in the US, but I think they were saying that they did that and they said it wasn't that great. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like this is 100% written to to be shown on the big screen. Like I would day one if there was a decent adaptation here. Like this is I think it's sort of like an elevated Fast and the Furious kind of thing. So instead of your family Corona Vin Diesel like that, it just like these women going out Jack and paint, like that seems so fun. Like great motorcycle chase sequences. One of my absolute favorite parts at Grand Odalisque, by the way, when they're making the assault on it and the blow gunning and they're just hitting everyone with the trank darts.
because
just like he's already down and they're like he gets a hit with another one.
Shooting him, yeah. They start with tranquilizer darts, trank darts, and to be an effective adaptation, especially in I feel like Olympia. Well, probably for both of them, you'd have to have a good budget. You couldn't do this on the cheap.
100%. Yeah, I mean, not to give too much away, but I don't think anyone necessarily is. You don't go into Grand Odalisque worrying about spoilers. There's a part where someone drives a motorcycle up the Louvre, and of course the Louvre is a pyramid, and jumps off of it, and it's this amazingly cool visual. And if they're doing any kind of adaptation, you have to do something like that. Like you're not going to obviously do the real Louvre, but like that was such a cool visual in there that like you need to find some way to represent that if you're doing a live action adaptation.
Yeah, and then in this one, I think there's something involving torpedoes, which would be a boss thing to see on the big screen.
So before what do you think of Olympia versus Grand Odalisque? Because I'd read Grand Odalisque before. I hadn't read Olympia. You were the one that was like, hey, turns out there's a box set. I love a box set. Want to talk about both? And I was like, yeah. Read that.
Oh, and there's the Grand Odalisque shows up on some guy's yacht, which they stole originally. I thought it was it felt like it. Well, I don't want to spoil it. I found it the only reason I sort of had to rationalize it in my head, because in this book they do more escaping than actually getting paid for what they steal. They escape. They're put in more life-threatening situations in this book. And I felt like there were at least 2 times where they bailed on getting paid. But they were still able to, I don't want to spoil it. They were still able to live the life to which they had become accustomed. I found the ending interesting because it was an ending I did not expect. I expected it to go a different way. That said, it felt a little lighter weight than the first one, although in some cases it dealt with some heavier topics. So maybe, there's an introduction of a character that is a bit of a cipher, and you don't really get a read on him for a while. I don't know. I felt I liked it just as much as I did the first book in a different way.
Okay, because I liked this less than the first one.
Okay, I can see that.
And for me, it's specifically you kind of brought this up about the fact you say it feels lighter.
Yeah,
is kind of your gut reaction, and you're like, yeah, but they're dealing with heavy things there. And that was kind of it for me. Like the thing I liked somewhat about Grand Odalisque first is it's fun characters doing fun things. And that was sort of like the crux of that book. And in Olympia, it tries to, go way heavier into the characters. And I think in a way of trying to do that, like, so Alex, for instance, she was my favorite character from the first one because she was like dopey and lovable, but still capable. And in Olympia, and there's a reason why, but it feels like they were like, hey, people really liked Alex from the first one. So what if we just amp up and we just like turn everything about that up? We'll make her dopier. We'll make her, and it's, again, there's an explanation for it, but it felt like it kind of went off. It felt more like they were trying to get like this to be an actual character book at the expense of sort of what made the first one so good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, especially like in the middle sections, it felt like they were setting up the like plan for a very long time without necessarily a whole lot of action. I will say, I thought the 3-barrel gun was pretty hilarious.
And the sword with the astrological sign on it that she wielded.
Yeah. And like to your point about like the score that it was almost like this false stop, and just it never felt like it really got going until the very end when they pulled the main heist in this one. And I felt like I was starting to check out a little bit, and then when they did that, like, they still got it. All right, I'm back in. I'm feeling this right here. I feel like the book is a little bit too light to really tackle sort of the serious character stuff that they were trying to do with it.
Yeah.
And I still enjoyed the book, but there were definitely some parts where it kind of lost me a little bit, in a way that Grande Odalisque, it just like, it's just fun and going for it. In a way that was just like, you got to have, these fun, enjoyable characters without trying to like really make it melodramatic. And here I think it got lost a little bit at times.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. It did feel lighter. I liked it a lot, but since you bring up the point of how long it did take for things to unfold, it did feel a little bit less immersive. So I do get what you're saying, and yeah, I agree with that.
And also, your copy did not come with any 50% off coupon, so you got to knock at least a little bit for that.
Okay, wait. Freddie's telling me that I missed a good comment by Muhammad. Okay, wait.
I feel like all of Mohammed's comments are good comments.
Is this the one, right? Local Man isn't done. It's still ongoing. Time Before Time is done. Also, Bunk, thoughts on Public Domain? That's the Zdarsky book.
Yep.
You wrote Public Domain and Domain.
I did? I don't
know. He's saying that Muhammad did. I think he missed a book. Public Domain is very good and compelling. Chip was inspired by all his manga reading for his podcast to do a book mostly by himself.
Oh, I thought Freddie was telling me that I was the one who did Public Domain. I was like, man, I've been Chip Zdarsky this whole time and I didn't even know it.
Is this the one, Freddie? Before you sign off, Muhammad P. Everything else minus James' answer for the movie is just silly fun. LOL. Okay.
So, Public Domain. I haven't read Domain yet.
What's Domain? I have Public Domain. What's Domain?
So Domain, I think, is going on now. I don't think it's been collected. As best as I can tell, Domain is basically, so Public Domain is the story about basically comic rights for a particular character, and it's about.
I've heard that. Yeah,
it's not particularly thinly veiled to be like Stan Lee versus Jack Kirby, and it's a story about the family of the Jack Kirby character who basically got screwed out of the rights by a business partner who's now gone on to make this global empire. And I think Domain is like telling the in-world stories. So it's like the comics that they were creating is, I think, what that is. But that one hasn't been collected yet, and I haven't checked it. Public Domain was a lot of fun. It's very clearly like an alternate telling of the Jack Kirby and the Stan Lee battle. I'm on the Jack Kirby side. I'm not the biggest Stan Lee fan. So and very clearly Zdarsky is too. And it's a especially at a time, when the Public Domain came out, like, first on it was a Substack book that came out, so it was being put out at the same time that the MCU was huge, and it was like a slightly satirical look at that, at the same time that it was about the people around it. I thought it was really cool and really interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of Zdarsky's art, but I appreciate that he was doing it all himself, so I'm not going to fault him on that. But yeah, Public Domain was good. I have not read Domain yet.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Freddie, for pointing that out to me. Marco 021 posted an OmniDog Discord about the movie. It's called Wing Women. You can watch it on Netflix. Okay.
Can we watch it in US Netflix, or just or do we need to VPN over to France?
Let's see. There's a where did he put it?
I want to say that it was on the general page a few days ago. It was earlier this week. I haven't been very active on Discord over the last few days, and I remember seeing it when it came up. And I want to say it was just on the general page.
Hayden and James are just going back and forth. Sorry, I think my Discord's funny as heck. Where is it posted, James?
I hear also there's a great picture of a sloth in your Discord if you scroll up far enough.
Yeah, Mallory and you were celebrating over it right here as a fan on. Okay, wait. Okay. It was August 20th. Savannah, baby, I like passenger. Okay, here we go. So is this in French with? Oh, I'll watch this. Let me screen share. Whoop, let me take this off. Thank you, James. Yeah.
Sounds like you were just singing the first half of that bootleg My Bloody Valentine just now.
Yeah, Marco did share this earlier, and I remember seeing it that it looked cool. That's fine with me as long as it's subtitled. I'm ready to. Oh yeah, I commented. You.
Le 1er novembre seulement sur Netflix.
I commented on you had me at beautiful for French actresses. So yeah, OmniDog's memory and taste are intact as bad memory but good taste. Blah 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 blah. S'il vous plaît, something. Anyway, this is. I might like to watch this tonight if I survive my show with Webhead and the owner of Comic Releases, Dom of X. Oh, here's Comics Are Dope. We just spoke about you earlier. How are you doing, my the Dope Pope?
What's up, Kix?
How are you?
What's going on, man? Hey, I was. I don't know if you're still here. Do you remember on the podcast recently? You were talking to someone. It might have been the gentleman who started Anaya, but he was talking about Terry and the Pirates. Was one of the
Comics Are Dope.
Yeah, if Kix is still here. Do you remember who it was? Because I remember you were asking someone about like how they get into comics, and they talked about what that was. I want to say that was the Anaya interview, but I'm not sure. But I mentioned that, and now that you're here, you can confirm or deny, or just not be here.
BJ, are you still here? Are you back at your dope empire, running your dope empire? He has an amazing empire going.
I'd like to call it the Dope House, but I feel like that's something else.
Yeah, I do. He's a church-going guy, so I call him the Dope Pope, but I don't know if that's one he wants.
So no, he absolutely does. The Discord community. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the Discord community, when he first changed from BJ Kicks and it was the K Squad to Comics Are Dope, he turned it into the Comics Are Dope community, and everyone hated it because it was just, it very much sounded like a youth pastor, like putting his chair behind. And it's like, hello, Comics Are Dope community. Let's talk about some dope things today. Am I right? And then
Hello,
just,
my
like,
fellow. How are you, my
yeah,
fellow kids?
and so then, like, as a joke, everyone like kept referring to the like, yeah, no, you know what? We're dope fiends instead. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I love that. And then he was like, all right, I'm gonna put it to a vote. You guys can call it whatever. And he's like, all right, I guess I'm just running around with some dope fiends now. And again, which is like very anti-BJ kid. So actually, maybe instead of having the Bat Cave, he's got the dope house.
That's funny. He is a very wholesome guy.
Yeah.
I am in a chat with these guys, and they are all very wholesome guys. And then Omar and I get in there, and we're like slashing at each other like Wolverine and Sabretooth with just like all these swear words. And afterwards, Omar says, I don't think we should be in that chat that way. And I'm like, I think you're right. These guys are all pretty wholesome. I don't think they're getting our humor. But yeah, I need to take a break so I can go
get some Reese's Animal peanut butter.
No, I saw those. I saw those in Costco a couple days ago, and I was like, "Oh, whoa, those look good," but I'm not gonna go there.
I saw them when our last Costco trip, and I was like, "Huh, I'd like to taste them, but I don't want to have them for like a month straight or just one sitting and feel terrible." And there's no middle ground if you buy it at Costco.
Bag, yeah, it's a gigunda bag that I was sent.
That's Costco,
I think that
man.
was
And they're peanut butter pies.
right. That was Rodimus that sent me that. Peace and love, Rodimus. Thank you again for sending me that. Yeah, I do. You guys are right. Thank you. I do need to take a break because the show coming up in an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to go have a cup of coffee, and the collected edition show is live at 5. Live collected editions
Live at 5. I mean,
live at 5.
Before you were doing the morning show. Now we're going to. Now we're back with OmniDog live at 5 on your Channel 3 News. Hello.
Wow, I should have you introduce it. I forget what a good deep DJ voice you have.
I'm OmniDog, and here are the collected editions.
And here, ticker tape back, the little typing back in the back.
But yeah, actually, that works out great because we've got some friends coming up in town. So this hard out works. I had told my wife, I was like, it's gonna be around 4. I'm gonna try and cut it so it's not one of the normal like 3.5 hour or like 4+. So like this works great. I'm happy that you get your time for a coffee. I might have a coffee myself. That actually sounds kind of great. And yeah, and we'll all go about our day, and we'll all meet back here for Live at 5 with OmniDog and Domovex, the owner of comic releases.
Bunk is his YouTube channel link is down below in my description. Please go to my Discord.
New stuff there.
What's that?
I like I said before, I haven't posted anything new in 4 months, and I'm saying there will eventually be new content there, probably some point.
Red Coat Turncoat's job and doing OmniDog intros. Also, Chris Balga does great OmniDog intros. Maybe I should open the show with that one. I should get Bunk. I should record Bunk doing an intro.
Well, if you're doing that, you got to get Kix doing one too.
I should. He does have that deep, buttery voice.
Mm-hmm.
I should just have. Yeah, I should have a King Arthur's round table of announcers announcing. Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so peace and love. Thank you to everybody in the chat for following. We had a ton of fun. It's always great to talk to my best friend on YouTube, Bunk. He is a great person, great personality, great, thoughtful, lots of knowledge.
I'm a little offended that you said I have a great personality. Like that's what you say to someone who doesn't look great in a tank top. He's got a great personality. Like
I have a girl for you to meet. She has a great personality.
I feel like I'm here mostly for the like eye candy factor. Occasionally I can contribute to some comic book talk and whatnot, but like I know what I'm here for. And you tell me I've got a great personality. I'm wondering. I got you, Max.
I apologize. My compliments turn into insults, so I'll stop throwing them around. I
You got
will
it, Freddie.
play.
I'll see what I can do about bringing him back.
I will play us out with my Omnicat theme song. Always great to see Bunk and his mediocre personality, but handsome face.
Oh,
And
you get
peace
me.
and
You get
love.
me.
Peace and love. There we go. Much better. Thank you all so much. Live at 5 coming up. Boop, 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 boop. Still one more.
Roll! OmniDog! Hey, OmniCat! Now here's the OmniDog and OmniCat show. Is the place if you'd like to know more about the books that they've read. Kristen likes Lumberjanes and Steven just likes to grow Jimmy Olsen.